When we need to prepare for a competitive event, our go-to company is the Army Painter.
Thanks to their complete range of paints, spray cans, and gaming tools, we're able to complete our new armies and units in no time.
When we need to elevate the quality of our models and terrain, the Army Painter is always our first choice.
You may not know this, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive events than any other hobby company.
Tournament and wargaming is in their DNA.
Visit thearmypainter.com to learn more about their amazing products.
And use promo code AW Paints for a 5% discount from your Army Painter purchases.
What are you waiting for? Discover the best way to prepare your models for events with the Army Painter today.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting Art of War video. We are here today reviewing the latest and greatest codex for Warhammer 40,000, the Agents of the Imperium.
That's right. They're in basically every Imperial army if you want them, and so it's going to be a big shakeup.
Absolutely. Now they have their own codex. Of course, they did have an index before, but as always with these new books, we're getting some changes in the actual codex, which will affect a lot more armies than normal.
Absolutely. I know I was just taking an agent unit in my Blood Angel army not that long ago, and I will have to see, does that Calidus still fit in?
Yeah, there's going to be changes for a lot of the Imperial armies, and of course, anyone who plays against Imperial armies, which is basically everyone.
Everybody.
So let's get into this, shall we?
Let's dive right in.
Yep.
Let's talk about their army rule.
Well, let's actually start off by thanking Games Workshop for giving us a preview copy. As well, if you enjoy this content, make sure that you actually like the content. Click the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, and as well, if you want to see maybe some of these new Agents of the Imperium in action, check out the War Room. That's the link in the description below, thewarroom.vhx.tv, and you can even get a free 3-day trial while you're there.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, let's dive right in.
All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this army rule, assigned agents. This is going to be very similar to where we were in the index. If your army faction is Age of Imperium, then you don't really get a rule. You just can select one of the available detachments from this book.
So if you're playing agents pure, your army rule is that you get a detachment rule.
That's correct. However,
I do think a bit of a miss on that one,
but luckily there are rules for when your faction isn't Age of the Imperium, and that is, of course, the assigned agents rule. If your army is not agents, but every model in your army does have Imperium, you can include Agents of the Imperium keyword units in your army, even though they don't have the right faction keyword. There is a limit on how many you can take, and it depends on the size of the battlefield. If you're playing a normal 2,000 point game, Strike Force, you can include 2 retinue units, 2 character units, and 1 requisitioned unit. The requisitioned unit is new. That is separate from where we were before, because previously requisitioned units didn't exist, but now agents can take any requisitioned unit. There is, however, no limit in here regarding points.
yes,
Those units are what you can take. And in addition, you can include Agents of the Imperium dedicated transports in such an army as normal. There is no limit on that, but you have to start the game with someone embarked in them. Otherwise, they are destroyed, same as normal. And so realistically, you're not going to take more transports than you have agent units to put in them.
yes.
But no points limit.
We'll cover all of these different like agent, character, requisition, retinue, whatever. We'll cover those when we get to the data sheets themselves, so you'll know which one is which. But this is new, and requisition is very new, and it's going to function very differently because you get access in Imperium armies to a unit type you might not have had access to before.
Indeed, indeed. And so
Terminators in AdMech, maybe?
Ooh,
who's to say?
Who knows?
Who's to say?
Yeah, and it will be quite interesting because when we review these data sheets, we'll kind of have to look at them through the dual lens of, are you a friend or are you an agent?
Yes.
And it'll be kind of different units. So there are 4 detachments in this book. 3 of them, as you'd guess, are themed after the various ordos of the Inquisition. The first one is going to feel very familiar to Death Watch players.
It's a little Black Spear-y, huh?
It does. It's the Ordo Xenos Alien Hunters. Now, I do want to add a little bit of a caveat to this, which is that there is nothing in here that addresses how this interacts with current Death Watch rules.
Yes.
But you can look at how similar these are, and they certainly are similar. So the detachment rule for the Ordo Xenos alien hunters is that at the start of your command phase, you can select one of the 3 mission tactics below. If so, you get it until essentially your next command phase. And the 3 options are Führer, Malleus, and Purgatus, which is the same as before. If you choose Führer, all Death Watch units have sustained hits 1 on their weapons. For Malleus, all Death Watch units have lethal hits. And if you choose Purgatus, all Death Watch get precision on a critical wound. Before it was a critical hit, now it's a critical wound. Not much of a difference, but I think it's slightly better this way because now you get to see the actual result before you choose if you're going to use precision.
Yeah, that's
still probably the least impactful of the 3.
Yeah, for sure. Usually when you try and deal with a squad and you're hitting it with a real unit, you try and give your weapons precision the old-fashioned way, which is killing the whole unit, and then every attack has precision when their unit is dead.
That's the goal, after the bodyguard's gone. So these do only apply to Death Watch units, and they're just to kind of give the context now, because I think it'll matter for the rest of this attachment. There are 3 Death Watch units in this codex. It is the Death Watch Veteran Squad, which is that 5 box of power armored Space Marines with all the cool Death Watch weapons. It is the Death Watch Watchmaster, who can join them, and it is the Corvus Blackstar. Those are the 3 Death Watch datasheets in this codex.
Yes.
So that is what is getting these rules.
Bit unfortunate there are 3 datasheets that receive.
It's a bit limited
here
because anything else you take will not be getting this detachment rule.
Yeah, you can take other things.
Yeah,
but
they will not be getting the detachment.
It will not be in the detachment rule.
Now we have 4 enhancements, as always. And the first one is the Universal Anathema. For an agent model only, melee weapons get anti-infantry 2+ and anti-monster 4+. Pretty good for melee buff there.
Equipped by the bearer?
By the bearer.
So this is any agent of the Imperium.
Any agent of the Imperium that can take an enhancement.
It's all right.
Yeah, we'll have to see if there's any devastating wound melee weapons at all to be found in here. That would be very good.
Yes. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there,
can't either,
there
but I'm going to
might
be looking for it now.
I don't know.
I really don't know. I'm going to have to look for it. The next is the Blackweave Shroud. And for an agent model only, the bearer has a Feel and Pain 4+.
Well, this would be really good if you could put it on like an assassin.
Yeah, I assume that they are still epic heroes.
I would be surprised if they weren't, but we can double check.
Yeah. Next, we have a Watchmaster only enhancement. So this is getting a little more Space Marine. The Beacon Angelus. And models in the bearer's unit have the Deep Strike ability, and you can rapid ingress for 0 speed. This one does look like it's the same one that we had in the index for Death Watch.
Mm-hmm. It was solid, if I remember correctly.
It's still quite good. Giving Deep Strike is generically useful, and also 0 speed rapid ingress is cool.
We're getting to the last one. Hopefully Thief of Secrets is here somewhere.
Yeah, I think
Bad news.
I think that was the Universal Anathema.
Oops.
The last one is the Amulet of Auto Chastisement, which I might be mispronouncing.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is another Watchmaster only. So 2 of these were Agent, 2 are Watchmaster only. This one is at the start of your opponent's shooting phase, select an enemy vehicle unit not Titanic within 12 and visible. It takes leadership test. If it passes, it's -1 to hit. If it fails,
it passes, it's -1 to hit.
If it fails, it cannot shoot.
Pick an enemy vehicle unit within 12, and they take, you said, leadership?
A leadership test.
So if they fail it, there's no downside like they're not battle shocked.
No, they just can't shoot.
Cannot shoot.
Yes. But if they pass, they're -1 to hit.
It's pretty funny.
It's quite good when it works. Now, admittedly, 12 inches opponent shooting phase is mildly pre-measurable.
There are a lot of abilities like this. They usually work on roll a die on a 2 or a 1 through 5. Your opponent's -1 to hit. On a 6, they can't shoot. This is a lot more reliable in that it's 2D. They have to roll 2d6 and under your leadership, which is like not actually unrealistic. But those effects have had like no play in the game so far.
Yeah, they haven't been a big deal.
No, because it is very pre-measurable.
Yeah,
you're saying.
Cool, but unless we find a devastating wound weapon, I think Beacon Angelus is the most actually useful.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Giving a 4 at Feel No Pain to a Watchmaster or somebody is like
there's some
not
useful
horrible
things there. Yeah, there's plenty of useful stuff. We do have 6 stratagems. These 6 stratagems are going to, again, feel very familiar if you remember the Black Spear detachment that Deathwatch has at their index. So first up, we have Armor of Contempt. This is for 1 Deathwatch unit from your army that was selected as the target, and you get Armor of Contempt.
Okay.
It's -1 AP in your opponent's shooting or the fight phase.
It's a good strat.
It's a great stratagem to have access to. Again, those are the 3 Deathwatch units, so that's who's going to get it. Next,
Well, Corvus Blackstar's ripping up the meta right now, so
it's about to be.
you got to watch out.
Next, we have Adaptive Tactics, which is quite simply 1 Deathwatch unit from your army gets to pick one of the 3 tactics, Ordo Malleus or Pariah, and until your next command phase, it has that instead of any other active mission tactics, even if you've already selected it. So just 1 CP, give a unit, and notably, this is give 1 unit,
Used
not
to be
2
give
kill teams.
2, yeah.
It is 1 unit gets the extra tactic. That's it.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Sustained hits for 1 CP is fine.
Yeah.
It's good even.
Yeah, 1 CP to get it for both the shooting and fight phase is generically useful.
It's for the whole turn, right?
Yeah, it's for the turn.
Okay. Yeah, shooting in combat is not bad.
That's a good rule. Nothing crazy though.
Nothing crazy though.
Next we have Hellfire rounds, and this is just another shooting one. This is one of the 3 bolter stratagems, the old shooting stratagems, I should say, the old special issue ammunition. And they all have the caveat that you can't use this stratagem with the other 2 at the same time. So
Do they have the restriction of bolt weapons?
No, they do not.
Interesting.
So,
unfortunately, can't do them with Desolators anymore.
Yeah. So Hellfire rounds is 1 CP until the end of the phase. Ranged weapons, excluding devastating wound weapons, get anti-infantry 2+ and anti-monster 5+. So this is Deathwatch infantry. So really, it's the Deathwatch veteran squad. That unit is the only data sheet that can use this. That unit gets anti-infantry 2+ and anti-monster 5+.
That's pretty tight.
It's still pretty cool.
That's pretty
still
cool.
Quite cool as a shooting attack. The next one is Dragonfire rounds. Same set of limits. Can't be used with the other 2 stratagems. Affects all ranged weapons. But this time you get assault and ignores cover when you shoot with it.
That's also pretty tight.
Also pretty good. These are just good strats. The final one is Kraken rounds, my old personal favorite. And this is improve the AP of ranged weapons by 1 and range by 6. This was especially powerful before when you paired it with frag cannons, which are an 18-inch rapid fire weapon traditionally. And then you go to 24-inch rapid fire, aka they can be shot out of reserves or teleports a lot more easily with rapid fire range.
Yes. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do you want assault or do you want 6-inch extra range? Because the difference between ignores cover and +1 AP, they're basically the same thing in this edition. So you have the option. Do you want to advance and shoot, or do you want to have longer range?
Yeah.
And sometimes you want one, sometimes you want the other.
And if you can ever find someone without cover, or you can find a different way to ignore cover, there's some value there as well.
Exactly.
But 3 generically good shooting stratagems.
Am I wrong? The Watchmaster gives them advance and shoot, if I'm not
That's
correct.
correct.
So Kraken rounds substantially better than Hellfire.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
That will often be the case. Finally, the last stratagem here, we have a rapid tactical relocation. At the end of your opponent's fight phase, 1 Deathwatch infantry or Inquisitor unit. We have finally found something besides
Wait, hold
Deathwatch.
on, what?
They waited until the last minute to give us a rule for something that's not Deathwatch infantry. Can go into reserves and then arrive 9 inches horizontally away in the next turn. It does say that it has to come in the start of your next reinforcement step. It also is not deep strike. It's just 9 inch horizontally away. But you can't select an enemy that is with a unit with an engagement range. It's just 1 CP teleport. And again, it's 1 unit, not or 2 kill teams.
Yeah. It's a hell of a rule. Uppy Downy is a really good rule in 10th edition, and this is going to be good when you use it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I don't see anything wrong with this detachment, really, other than potentially its unit selection.
Yeah. If we were to compare it directly to the Black Spear, which is honestly the Black Spear is not really the problem with Deathwatch right now. It's the 3 bolt around stratagems are better because they can actually affect all your weapons because they're no longer bolt weapons.
That is good.
And
that's
then,
good. Frag cannons like that.
Yeah, the 2 stratagems, adaptive tactics and rapid tactical relocation, they are now just 1 unit instead of 1 or 2 kill teams. Not a huge deal, but it's a small nerf. The enhancements got shuffled up, but the data sheets.
I'm going to hold off judging this detachment until after we read the 3 data sheets that most benefit from it. I like that it gets access to the whole roster of Imperial agents.
Yeah.
And I will be honest with you, I do think that's pretty decent. because there's, most armies can only take 2 assassins. This army can take more than that.
Yeah.
That's great. It has great like skirmishy units to run around. Is awesome support in that direction. If, and I don't expect this to be the case, but if the Death Watch half of this can handle the fighting portion of the game, then this army could actually be legitimate.
Yeah, all the stratagems you can use here are pretty dope.
They are.
The data sheets are solid. There's just not many of them, but we'll get there when we get there.
Well, largely, I just want to know one thing: are the Death Watch veterans, are they battle line?
My memory is yes. They definitely were before, but we'll have to double check to make sure.
We'll have to double check because if they're not battle line, you can only take 3 units. You do run out of good units in that army then.
Yeah, if you can only take 3, I think you'll run into problems. Still, for where we're at, I think this detachment on face value does very good things for the unit's benefits. We'll have to check in when we get to the data sheets. So jury's a little bit out on this.
I'll be 100% though.
Cool.
Wish I had Oath.
I do wish that we had Oath in this detachment. I really love Oath of Moment on my unit that I give sustain to.
A little not awesome. Now I will say you get rerolls to hit against Xenos, and you get real 1s to hit against everyone else.
Yeah, and that's still their rule. It's still that part I know is still their rule.
But yeah, Oath would have been pretty tight.
So, would you like to read the next attachment?
I would love to.
Ordo Hereticus Purgation Force.
All right, so Ordo Hereticus Purgation Force, they're here to root out heresy, so that's their detachment rule.
Absolutely.
So ranged weapons equipped by Arbites, or I'm never sure how to pronounce it. I know it's not like Arbites. I know that's wrong. So Arbites, Inquisitorial Agents, and Ordo Hereticus models from your army have ignores cover.
I'm sorry. So it's Arbites, Inquisitor, Inquisitorial Henchmen?
Inquisitorial Agents.
Agents, not agents of the Imperium, Inquisitorial Agents.
Correct.
And then Ordo Hereticus.
Models, yes.
Models. All right, thank you.
So Inquisitors don't give this to their unit.
Yep.
But that's a fairly wide selection for this book.
Yeah.
But it's not everybody, not even close.
Do we just want to spoil the lead on what that actually is? Just to give the context?
Yeah, it's all of the squads of cops.
Mm-hmm.
It is the Inquisitor themselves, their model. It is their Inquisitorial Henchman squad that just changed its name.
Unit, yeah.
And all sisters.
Yeah. And the sisters' data sheets that we have access to in this book are going to be the Battle Sister Squad and the Immolator. That's it.
Yeah. All of that, and that is, it's not non-zero. It all gets ignores cover. And ignores cover is a hell of a rule.
Yeah, ignores cover is cool.
Ignores cover is cool. Anytime any of those units or models makes an attack that targets a chaos unit that also has 5 or more models, so welcome to Restrictionville, you get sustained hits 1.
Ignores cover is a perfectly cool detachment rule.
Yep, and you get against everyone.
The second half rule, it's not even like it's bad. Because I'm sure when you play against those Chaos armies that aren't Chaos Knights, you'll show them. Also not most Chaos Demons.
Also not like Vashtor or Demon Prince.
Yeah.
Or, as you said, basically any Chaos Demon list worth anything.
However, it's like a fun second rule. The first rule is fine. I like ignores cover.
Ignores cover is great. You know what I like about Ordo Xenos Alien Hunters detachment, though?
It affects everything.
It affects everything, and it doesn't necessarily affect everything. There are a lot of buffs that affects every enemy. Yeah. It doesn't. I don't care if you're playing Xenos or Chaos or Imperium. The Ordo Xenos will hunt you just the same.
Yeah, their data sheet has the limit, but then they seem to be flipping it here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the ignore cover part, kind of cool. Although, ironically, ignores cover is a weird buff because Ordo Hereticus is like thematically like a flamer army.
And Meltaguns.
So yeah, so like you're a lot of the weapons you're going to end up taking here are AP something ignores cover already or AP4, where ignore cover is nice on AP4, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, ignore cover Immolator, just not
that exciting.
No, I like it better when it gives ignores cover. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. So, what do we got here?
All right, Liber Hereticus. Inquisitor or Ministorm Priest model only. After both players have deployed their armies, you pick 3 agents of the Imperium units. That's anybody in your army.
Okay.
And redeploy them. And you can set them up in strat reserves if you want, regardless of any limits.
That's very cool.
It's
a nice enhancement. I like redeploys. They're not insane, but I like having a redeploy if I can.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's a solid enhancement. It's probably not one you're going to spend a decent amount of points on.
Yeah.
But it is solid. No Escape is an aura. It's a 6-inch aura off of an Inquisitor. Enemy units within 6 inches have to pass a leadership test in order to fall back. Otherwise, they have to remain stationary.
I love that.
That is nuts. I'll tell you as a World Eaters stan, preventing your opponent from falling back is really good. You don't use this as your main game plan, but you just like, oh, and by the way, you're in range of the aura. If you pass leadership checks, we'll play the game as normal, no problems here.
But there's just like a 40% chance at any point that your opponent steps on a rake and breaks their nose.
Exactly.
See what happens.
At least that's how it works in World Eaters, where you just play your game as normal and you just, and also take these leadership checks. And if you fail them, we're not playing the game as normal. We are playing the game my way.
Yeah.
So that's
we'll
pretty
see
dope.
if the army can capitalize on that. I don't expect it to capitalize on that as well as World Eaters do. But even if you're not a combat army, you can use this against shooting armies very effectively.
Yep, you go tie them up. Maybe they fall back. Maybe they can't.
Don't. Who knows?
You can also put an Inquisitor in a unit of Grey Knight Terminators, and then people would probably like to fall back from that.
Often, yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's a good rule.
Yep.
Witch Hunter, Inquisitor or Priest model only. While the bear is leading a unit, every time a model in that unit makes an attack that targets a Psyker unit, you reroll hits.
Okay, that's a little situational.
It's a little too situational. They're falling a little bit down the Sisters detachment. The Sisters of Silence.
We've reviewed a lot of Sisters detachments.
That's true. The Sisters of Silence detachment has a serious problem of, those are good rules. They only work if your opponent's a Psyker, though.
Yep. One more enhancement, right?
Yep. And this one I quite like. The Ignis Judicium. Inquisitor or Ministorum Priest only. Spoiler alerts, the Inquisitor. The bear's ranged weapons have Dev Wounds, Melta 1, and Precision.
Very funny.
Very funny.
Very funny.
So the Inquisitor has the psychic, like, storm ability or whatever. And that will also get Ignores cover in this detachment.
Yep.
And I believe it goes to 4/1/2 with Dev Wound up close. Like within 9, it goes to 2 damage and has Precision.
It's within 9 or?
It's Melta 1. And the range is 18.
Oh, okay.
So if you're within 9
it's strength 3.
I think it's strength.
We'll check when we get
I think
there.
it's strength 4. I think I just looked at it, but either way, it makes it pretty decent. If it ignores cover and has precision, you like overwatch a character out of a unit.
Yeah.
Just like, oh wow, that would be really annoying if that character were in this anyway, and then they're dead.
Also Dev Wounds. Like,
also Dev
end
Wounds.
of the day.
Yeah, I quite like it.
Yeah, that's a cool enhancement. I definitely pay for that to make the Inquisitor flavor better.
100%. 100%. Right. And again, ignores cover on that. Also pretty good, decent buff.
A little spicy.
All right, we got 6 stratagems. Stun grenades, start of any phase. You pick an Arbites, an Inquisitorial Agents, or an Ordo Hereticus grenades unit, not within engage range. You pick an enemy unit within 8 inches that is not a monster or vehicle, and you have to see it. That enemy unit takes a battle shock check, and until the end of the phase, every time a model in that unit makes an attack, -1 to hit.
Until the end of the phase.
Until the end of the phase, which is a bit sad.
So you can throw like 4 grenades in a turn if you really want to, but only doing it in the turns where...
And you cannot do it in the command phase.
Yep, so no messing up their primary.
No messing up their primary, but you can definitely disrupt control of yours, because...
Yeah, you do it at the start of their fight phase after they charge your objective and be like, quick, BOC 0, please.
Well, or they run onto your objective and you go start of the shooting phase, battle shock, start of the charge phase, battle shock, start of the fight phase, battle shock.
That's kind of...
Just get off my objective.
That's adorably annoying.
It is, right? Like, if they're willing to dump CP down it, they can make you take 3 battle shock checks if you just walk onto their objective.
Adorably annoying.
Adorably annoying.
Okay.
I think legitimately it seems like quite good.
Yeah, I agree. Because the -1 to hit is also just like kind of worth a CP sometimes anyways.
Yeah, but also if like you have a unit behind a unit of Terminators, right? They go to charge you, you're like battle shock, and then they can't reroll the charge, or they pass it and they charge you and start of the fight phase, battle shock. Yeah. And you're just like, all right, you were going to charge me 2 battle shock checks. If you fail either of them, you lose your strats. If you fail it in the fight phase, you are -1 to hit.
Well, you're -1 to hit even if you pass the battle shock, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
I think that's like it's
No,
good
yeah.
just on the -1 hit.
It is. It's good. It's just
All right.
1 CP, start of the fight phase, blat, and then if they take the battle shock.
And most importantly, it has nothing to do with whether or not your opponent's a psyker.
Thank God for that.
All right.
I will tell
thank
you.
the Emperor.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, stun grenade's really good.
Yeah.
Legitimately, I think a really good
stratagem.
strat. Dispense justice. How many grenades do these units have anyway? Like, are they just chucking grenades left, right, and center?
It's the psychotrope grenades, man.
Yeah. Dispense justice. 1 CP strat in your shooting or fight phase. You pick an Adeptus Arbites, Inquisitorial Agents, or Ordo Hereticus unit, not been selected to shoot or fight, and then you get lethal hits.
Oh, so just 1 CP lethal hits for the units that like this detachment?
Correct.
Okay. That's cool.
It's solid. It's fine. Lethal hits is not like the best, but
Sometimes it's very helpful if you're trying to do something that is above your cop's pay grade.
correct.
Like,
They're 1 day from retirement and they're staring down a Chaos Knight.
lethal hits is better than a sustained at that point.
That's true. Inviolate Jurisdiction. 1 CP, your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. You pick one of those 3 data sheets within range of an objective marker and select as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks, and you get 5 up, feel no pain.
So you have to be on an objective?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when an enemy hits one of the 3 keywords that likes witch hunters, that's on an objective, spend a CP for 5 feel no pain.
Correct.
Is it infantry locked?
Yes. Ordo Hereticus Infantry.
Okay, so not an immolator.
Correct.
Just checking.
Just saying.
I mean, I would pay it on an immolator.
Yeah. I mean, it might work on the Inquisitorial Henchman Rhino.
I mean, there isn't one.
There's a Rhino in here.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll check the keywords when we get to it.
We'll check it when we get to it.
Did not even notice the Rhino.
Execution order. It might be just a Sisters Rhino.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't work. But execution order. 2 CP. So we're in for a real winner right here.
Okay.
One of those 3 units, infantry only on the Sisters. Select an enemy character unit on the battlefield. Every time a model in that unit targets that character unit, you have precision.
Okay. 2 CP?
It's in your command phase. It applies to the shooting and the fight phase for that unit.
If you really want a character dead, you'll probably get there.
If you really want a character dead, you probably are not doing this.
No, if it's like the Technomancer in a Wraith squad.
That's true. You rock up with 4 melta guns. And you're like, "Zow!"
Yeah, it could be worth it.
Gazzabow!
It's not. 2
Zow.
CP is a little harsh.
Yeah, I don't really know
I feel
why
like
this
it's-
is 2.
Yeah, but it's there, and that means your opponent has to protect their characters in a case where you're not killing the whole squad.
Yeah, you get a lot of value out of this existing, not necessarily using it.
Yeah.
Line of Fire. 1 CP in your shooting phase. You pick one of those 3 units. Until the end of the phase, models in you can target enemy units that were within engaged range of one or more friendly units with ranged weapons, other than blast, provided the target is within 12 inches. You
Okay.
can shoot into combat.
All right. So the cops, which and Hereticus units and Inquisitor units,
It can be vehicle too.
it can be vehicle, can shoot into combat with anything and not just cops and witch hunters.
Correct.
Okay.
And they have to be within 12 inches.
So
And
if
you can't fire blast.
if your opponent, and there's no like on a 1 I hit my friends. Okay, so if your opponent
They're
tags
really good at shooting.
Grey Knight Terminators, you could walk a Battle Sister squad up within 12, pay a CP, and the Battle Sister squad could shoot whatever is currently tagging the Terminators without the Terminators having to fall back.
Correct.
Okay. Even though the Grey Knight Terminators are not Witch Hunter friends, they are agents, and they're in the army because you could take them even if they're not using these attachment rules that much.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure because it's a little weird. There's a lot of cops and keywords over here.
That's right.
Mhm.
There are a lot. There are a lot of keywords in 40K. It's a decent strat. You can't target anything that hits particularly hard in shooting.
Yeah, none of those units are fantastic in shooting. I'd have to see how hard you can tool up a.
A vigilant squad or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
They have shotguns,
They
John.
do.
It's not going to be great.
They do. Okay. What's the?
They have shotguns that ignore cover now.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Is it Inquisitor unit? Or
Inquisitorial agents.
Oh wait, so not an Inquisitor.
No.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
Yeah. No, I got you.
All right. Fair enough.
And you also can't shoot blasts. So if you were thinking frag cannons, stop thinking frag cannons.
I was just thinking. I was just seeing what the options were.
Exact punishment.
Yes.
1 CP. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an agent of the Imperium unit from your army is destroyed. Hopefully that never happens.
Okay.
As a result of the enemy unit's attacks, one cop, Inquisitorial Agent, or Hereticus unit from your army that was within 6 of the destroyed unit gets to shoot, as if it were your shooting phase. But you can only target that enemy unit only if it's eligible.
So and that's only in the shooting phase?
Only in the shooting phase.
So if they punch them to death, you don't shoot them.
No,
Wait till your turn.
they're not a big fan. If you punch them to death, they're like, fair play to you. Yeah. Like you deserve to kill my guys.
And is it infantry? Can I shoot an immolator?
You certainly can.
Okay. That's like
It's fine.
Yeah, that's not great.
There's a lot of shooting buffs for units that don't shoot that great.
Yeah.
Which is
there's a lot of ways to fire one multi-melta.
Yeah, and it'll ignore cover and it'll get sustained hits very rarely, and it will get lethal hits if you want to spend a CP on it, and you can shoot it into combat, and you can shoot it if they shoot your friend to death, but
it's one multi-melta.
You can give it precision.
But it's one multi-melta.
Like, there's not many characters that feel safe in units if you have, 7 CP and you're willing to party.
So this feels like it is the same problem as the Ordo Xenos detachment, but more. In that some of the rules are okay, but there aren't good data sheets to put it on. Whereas the Ordo Xenos rules are probably more applicable and possibly have better data sheets to be put on.
Yeah, the Ordo Xenos ones at least have a Space Marine unit that can take heavy thunder hammers and frag cannons.
Yeah, like they got something going on.
Yeah, right. Like these are not a Dominion squad, a Battle Sister squad that has a multi-melt and a melt-a-gun can shoot them into combat. And that is like the gnarliest thing this detachment can do.
Yeah, honestly.
Stun grenades, legitimately great.
Very cool.
Legitimately pretty damn good.
But that's a good support stratagem. That's not like a build it around stratagem.
It isn't. It's one where your opponents can be very annoyed it exists, but they really won't be annoyed once you tell them what else is in the army.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of things without rules, or a lot of rules without things.
Yeah. I don't think this affects enough data sheets to get the results that you want.
No, if Tau had this,
let's not go there, okay? Let's not go there.
Just saying.
Well, luckily, Tau doesn't have the Ordo Hereticus keyword, so we're safe.
Oh, thank God. Oh,
we're good.
That one was close.
All right.
All right. Next up, we got Ordo Malleus.
Do you want to take this one? I know you like your Grey Knights.
I'll take the one after.
You'll take the one after?
You got this.
All right, no problem. So we've got the Ordo Malleus Demon Hunter detachment.
I do like my Grey Knights.
Up next. I offered. This detachment rule is mildly more applicable. This is every time an Inquisitor, Inquisitorial Agents, or Ordo Malleus model from your army makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. If you are attacking a demon,
a hit roll of 1. Oh, each time they make an attack.
Yeah, that's the good version.
Okay. It's every hit roll of 1.
If you are targeting a demon, you also reroll a wound roll of 1. So reroll 1s to hit all the time. Reroll 1s to wound against demons.
Demons are more broadly applicable than one might think.
Are they?
Yes, because everything in demons, a lot of the things outside of demons too are also demons. So most of the valuable units in World Leaders, demons.
Yeah, 8 bounds and Angron.
8 bounds, Exalted 8 bounds, Angron, Forge Fiends, all demons.
Yeah.
Things in CSM, there's a lot of units in CSM that are also happen to be demons. There are a lot of units in Thousand Sons that are demons, such as Magnus. And
is it just Magnus?
Demon Princes, I think, too.
Probably.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
That would make sense.
Okay.
So, Death Guard,
there's a couple,
Plagueburst Crawlers are demons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
the
there's a
demon
couple.
engines are demons. But it's not super widely applicable.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also, the Avatar and the Incarn are demons. So that's pretty funny.
I don't remember that.
Celestine should be a demon, too.
She's just not. Emperor sustains her. And I'll be sending the Ordo Hereticus if you say that again. Okay. So reroll 1s to hit all the time. Sometimes reroll 1s to wound. We'll find out when your opponent gets to the table.
Reroll 1s to hit as an army roll is fine.
That's fine, yeah. For the enhancements, the first is Formidable Resolve, which is for an Inquisitor model only. Improve the leadership and wound characteristic of the model by 1. Once per battle, start of any phase, pick a battle-shocked unit within 12, and it is no longer battle-shocked. So help a friend out make, say, no more battle shocks for you at the start of a phase, and then +1 leadership and wound. That's cool.
It's not bad.
I hope it's not too expensive, but it's a good just like value.
It's there's basically the equivalent in Custodes, or at least old Custodes. It was a decent enhancement. You took it sometimes.
Yeah. Next, we have Demon Slayer for an Inquisitor.
Ooh.
Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of the bear's melee weapons, and those weapons have anti-demon 3+.
Okay.
If we can find a dev wound, that would be real strong.
We'll have to see. I legitimately do not know if there's dev wounds in there.
I don't think so, but we'll check.
I
together.
don't recall them getting dev wounds.
Next, we have the Grimoire of True Names, which is an aura for an Inquisitor only. Enemy units within 9 inches of the bearer are -1 to their leadership characteristics. In addition, while an enemy demon unit is within 9 inches of the bearer, -1 to hit and wound when they make an attack. When this works, that is crazy.
World leaders hate this one cool trick. They really don't like -1 to hit and wound. I'll tell you that.
When this works,
Demons, you have a keeper running in. No, you are the one with -1 to hit, and while you're at it, -1 to wound as well.
when this works, it's great.
Yeah, and it works against demons explicitly and exclusively.
Explicitly those things, yes.
Yes.
So kind of funny, but I mean, I think you take it just because it's, if you're playing Ordo Malleus, I would take it. The one time it works, it's so cool.
It's cute.
When
It
it works,
sure
it's
is.
great.
Yeah, like if you park that dude behind, a bunch of Grey Knight Terminators and you're like, charge me.
Yeah, try me.
Won't someone charge me? -1 to hit and wound. No.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good, but,
No.
it is funny.
The final enhancement is Gift of the Prescient for an Inquisitor only. Once per battle, if the bear is on the battlefield, you can use Rapid Ingress for 0 CP, but when doing so, you must target a Grey Knight Terminator squad from your army, and that unit can be set up anywhere on the battlefield more than 3 inches away from all enemy units when doing so.
I have to be set up. I can only target the Terminators with Rapid Ingress. Do not, John, threaten me with a good time.
Yes, I do love it when the rule explicitly tells you how you should use it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to use on Terminators? Okay, I was going to do that anyway. And they show up 3 away on a Rapid.
That
is
a great enhancement.
really good. He
It's a
just has
great
to be
enhancement.
on the table.
Yeah, the Inquisitor has to be on the table when you use this.
Well,
He will be, right?
yeah, he would be.
There you
That's a really good enhancement.
Yeah, no, that just is. That's
Okay.
just really good.
That's pretty tight. I like
All right.
that.
And now we're on to the stratagems. And these are, I guess we should clarify. When we say Inquisitorial Agents and Ordo Malleus means specifically Codias and Grey Knight Terminators.
Yep.
That's what it has Ordo
Of
Malleus.
which you can only take a 5-man squad, not a 10.
That is true.
Just something
So-
to keep in mind.
We have first stratagem, Ritual Warding for 1 command point. At the start of any command phase, 1 Inquisitor, Inquisitorial Agents, or Ordo Malleus unit from your army within range of an objective marker you control, you get to sticky it, and it is said to be warded. While it is warded, enemy demon units cannot be set up on the battlefield within 6 inches of it.
I just want to play this into Nyx Demons.
I bet you do.
I really do.
1 CP sticking objective and nothing else is a perfectly fine ability,
Yep.
especially because it can be done in any command phase. So if you take 5 just Inquisitorial Agents, just like 5 cheap guys, and they just walk out onto an objective in no man's land, and in your opponent's command phase, you're like, sticky, and then the pulse rifles tear you in half.
Yeah, but they have to put something on the objective now.
That's cool for
and
a
now
CP.
you get to charge.
That's
or
cool.
shoot.
That's totally good for a CP.
It is perfectly good for a CP.
Yep. If you play against demons, it then becomes hilarious.
It is very funny at that point.
I mean, at that point,
there
you're
are
trying to-
other ways to deny their deep strikes, and so you get to layer them on top of each other like a very delicious no deep strike cake.
Yeah. And the way that this works, in case you're curious on the timing of it, is so obviously you control it until your opponent controls it at the start of or end of any turn, which gotta fake you to phase, and the game might affect you. But while an objective marker is warded and under your control, enemy demon units cannot be set up within 6 inches of it. However, the warded part never goes away.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sticky ward it, they take it back, you walk back onto it. It is then the 6-inch no zone again, even if it's not sticky anymore.
Which is?
It will never stop being warded, but it has to be warded and controlled to be 6 inches of no demon.
I do like that there can be literally nothing on the board and still like, nah, you can't deep strike there. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
Not there.
not for you. Sorry. No, none of that.
Kind of funny.
And remember, it's something to keep in mind is that it's not 6 inches of the new, the mats that everyone uses.
No, it's
right?
the 40 millimeter
disc in the center.
That's what it is, the actual objective marker.
So it's just 3 inches
off
from
of the pie plate.
Yeah.
Still
The
good
neoprene
distance.
mats.
I'll
Yeah.
take that.
I will 100% against demons, not against demons. I'll use it.
Yep. The next stratagem is Rites of Exorcism. In your shooting phase or the fight phase, one Inquisitor, Inquisitorial Agent, or Malleus unit from your army, those are the 3 that I'll be referencing for a lot of these strats, selects one demon unit within 12 inches and visible to your unit. That demon unit must take a battle shock test. If it's failed until the end of the phase, every agent of the Imperium gains devastating wounds against that demon unit.
That's very funny. There are some downsides.
1, they might pass the battle shock test.
Yes, and against demons, if they pass a battle shock check, they heal for D3 wounds.
If they're within the shadows.
If they're within range of themselves.
The
usually.
shadows.
Yes. Which greater demons give in an aura. So
Yeah.
usually if you're targeting a greater demon, they will always be within shadows.
Yep.
If you target a non-greater demon, they will sometimes be in shadows.
But if you target something that's at full health, healing doesn't matter.
That's correct.
Also, if you target like one of the random units of like 8 bound or the Incarn, if
That's
the
also
Incarn
true.
fails a battle shock test, you're like, wow, it's so crazy. Now my Death Watch veterans are dev wounds against you. Wild.
Unfortunate. Unlucky.
Bang. Yeah. Because that is a funny amount of it's just hinged on a battle shock test is the problem. Because if they pass the battle shock test, nothing happens.
Yeah, literally nothing.
Nope.
It's not like the shot grenades where it's like, all right, you're -1 to hit. And also, why don't you go ahead and take a battle shock check for me?
No, yeah. So a little risky, but cool if it works. But it's risky, only affects demons.
Yeah, not my favorite strategy. At least it's not 2 CP,
Yeah.
I guess.
Next, we have 1 CP Steelheart. This is in your movement phase. After a Grey Knight Terminator squad from your army falls back, it can shoot and charge. That is better than not being able to fall back, shoot, and charge.
How does that fluff make sense at all? Steel Heart means you can fall back and charge?
Yeah, they're not fleeing. They're relocating.
Oh, you see them running away. They're like, no.
We are not running away.
We're not running away.
We
I
are
see why you would think
repositioning.
that. But no, actually,
Yeah.
we're too steel to
They
be
are
running away.
merely withdrawing momentarily before striking a no.
I see.
Shoot and charge. I mean, fallback and act is a good ability to have
great
access
rule.
to. So on Grey Knight Terminators, strong. Next, we have True Silver Armor, which is going to sound very
I wonder
familiar.
what this is.
And this is in your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Grey Knight Terminator squad gets armor contempt, which is reducing coming AP by 1.
It's a shame that one Terminator squad shows up on the battlefield and then all of your dudes have to get executed after the battle.
Unlucky.
That is unfortunate.
The agents already know, though. The agents know. Just the guardsmen.
The guardsmen, the Space Marines get mind wiped.
Yeah.
Nobody has a good time afterwards.
Next, we have Hexagrammic Wards, which is another 1 CP stratagem. In your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase after you have selected its target, 1 Ordo Malleus unit from your army that was selected as the target. This is specifically going to be Grey Knight Terminators or Codias.
Or Codias. Is it
And
Ordo
its units.
Malleus unit?
It is Ordo Malleus units.
So it's any unit joined by Codias as well.
Until the end of the phase, all psychic weapons equipped by models in
I
the
see.
attacking unit have the hazardous ability. All of your psychic weapons have a 16% chance to hurt you.
Your opponents, right? When
Equipped by
target you.
models in the attacking unit.
Okay. If they attack you.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay, so let me spin you a story. A story of another
No.
a tale of 2 1 CP strats.
Don't do that. Jack is referencing the Thousand of Sun stratagem that is this, but much better.
Yeah. It's exactly this, but with fewer targeting restrictions, and it gives you a 4-up feel no pain on top of making them hazardous.
Yeah. This is
Also-
too niche.
Oh no,
because-
it is until the end of the phase. This one's also
Yeah,
until the
it's way too niche. Yeah, but it's only in the attacking unit.
This could have been a 4-up Feel No Pain against psychic attacks, and they gain hazardous, and it would be okay.
Yeah.
Taking away the far dramatically better half of it it's not great.
I mean, it's just a different stratagem. Like we can't compare a T-Sun strat to an Imperium strat.
Why not?
Because it's just different. However, this is not good.
No, it's horrible.
Let's just-
Terrible.
Because the reality is that if you're getting hit by a psychic weapon from a psyker singular, spending a CP for a 1 in 6 chance to do something is not a good idea.
Correct.
So if someone's librarian and terminators hit you, you can spend a CP and 1 in 6 times you wound a librarian.
Yeah,
Whee!
Magnus hits you, you roll 2 dice, and on one he takes 3 mortals.
Yeah.
Like, that is a bad stratagem, but you don't get like anything guaranteed, right?
Yeah, unlikely to do anything. Where you would use this is if something like a squad of 6 flamers of Zinch shoots you, you might kill 1 or 2 or 0. If a squad of Zoanthrope shoot you, you might do it then. So say, hey, 7 dice, every 1 is a dead Zoanthrope. That's genuinely valuable.
It's like a grenade, basically. You should get 3 mortals out of it.
Yeah, but that's like, it's a swingier than normal grenade, and it's so specific.
The upside on the grenade is much higher, though.
It is.
'Cause if you roll 4 ones, it's just like unit gone.
Swinging up and down, swinging in all directions. I'm sure in the situations where this is worth using, it's a good strat. It's just that you could probably play a tournament a weekend for a month and pop this strat once or twice.
Yeah, I would probably say that. I think once is probably accurate.
Pink horrors.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
no, you wouldn't even do it there.
No, because it's like kill 2 pink horrors for 1 CP.
Maybe. Yeah,
Maybe.
you make them take a disembark check. Cool. Yeah, if your strat is specific, if it's very specific, very niche, very tailored, it should be more powerful than average because you don't use it most of the time.
Yeah.
But this is niche and weak. Why would you use it?
Now, there is one time when I can think of when you would use that stratagem.
Is it if somebody uses the next stratagem on you?
Exactly. If you're playing the mirror match against other Imperial Agents, Ordo Malleus, a thing that will not happen in this calendar year, and
The sad sack Ordo Malleus mirror.
they use the last stratagem of the detachment, which is Cybolt Ammunition. 1 Grey Knight Terminator squad from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. All ranged weapons gain lethal hits and psychic. Adding psychic, to my knowledge, has no tangible benefit here. It's only a downside if your opponent has a very specific type of rule. However, 1 CP lethal hits for ranged weapons of a Terminator squad is not terrible. It's just not exciting.
It's so funny because one model gets an incinerator. And
It's not
the
exciting.
incinerator does not get benefits from
Maybe
lethal. And
if it takes a psych cannon.
It gains psychic now.
If it takes a psych cannon, then you get lethal.
Sure. The psych cannon, I think, hits on 4s. I could be wrong.
Lethal, though.
It might hit on 3s.
Don't even need to know what it wounds on. Yeah, I mean, 1 CP lethal is fine, and I might spend it, but it's not exciting.
No.
Most of this detachment is not exciting. And the parts we were most excited about were when you played against demons.
No, this attachment's horrible. You're
Yeah.
not going to play this.
No, unfortunately, this definitely is a bit of a narrative detachment.
Luckily, this does not sound nor feel like the Grey Knight's attachment, so I'd be surprised if it replaced anything at all.
Yeah, I we don't know whether or not it's the above Ordo Xenos attachment is replacing the Black Spirit attachment, but it's so similar that you could suspect that it might. Hopefully, it'll be clarified how that's intended to be used soon. But
The Grey Knight's
the Grey
one-
Knight's attachment is so different that this can't be it.
Yeah.
So I have no reason to believe that Grey Knights won't exist as a separate entity, the same way that Sisters still exist as a separate entity. And we'll find out about Death Watch. The Death Watch one is so similar that it makes you wonder, though.
Exactly. All right, one more.
One more, the Imperialis Fleet.
This one I'm actually kind of excited for.
This one's kinda cool.
Let's see if it lives up to the hype. But this is like literally just a Navy fleet. All right, motoring around the galaxy, just having a good time, as they do.
All right, start with that detachment roll.
So detachment rules at all costs. So at the start of your command phase, you either pick 1 enemy unit, and every agent of the Imperium model in your army, bar none, gets +1 to hit against that target.
All Imperial agents, not the Psychers.
Nope.
Not the Xenos Hunters.
Nope.
Not the Inquisitors.
All of them. Just everything gets +1 to
That
hit.
makes me happier. Okay.
All right.
What's the other thing?
The other one is you can choose to pick an objective on the battlefield. And while you're within range of that objective, +1 leadership, OC, and a 5 up invuln save.
That is also good.
It is also good. I don't love that it's
One objective?
it's very narrow, right? It's a good
Yeah.
buff that applies in a very small portion of the battlefield.
Yeah.
Don't love that.
I get it.
But it makes it really annoying to take objectives away because then
Yeah.
they just randomly become +1 OC, +1 leadership.
It also, this is in the command phase?
Yes.
Okay.
At the start of
Start of a
yours.
command phase.
So
Still.
before you draw cards.
Well, those are both at the start.
They're both at the start?
Yes, you can choose.
Okay.
But still, that means that you could do it if you know you're going to have to take a battle shock test if you fail, well, I'm +1 OC, so I still get it. Or you just use it as like a different type of Oath of Moment, just a +1 hit instead of a reroll hits. And it affects everything. It's better than affecting some things.
Yeah, no, this actually works on most things, on everything's even in your army. But you get to choose which things benefit from it because you pick one either or objective or enemy unit.
Okay. It's not like an insanely good army rule, but it's solid, and because it's widely applicable, I like it more than most already.
Yeah, it doesn't affect everything in your army. It affects anything in your army.
That's good.
Digital weapons were in the enhancements.
I like this one.
Agent of the Imperium model only, but that's literally any
anything,
of them.
yeah.
Anything. Every time you're selected to fight, roll 3d6. For every 4 up, a unit within engagement range takes a mortal wound, and you allocate those as though you had precision.
Very cool.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Just zap, take a mortal or 2.
Yeah. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. If it, I
And
want it to
hopefully
be
it's
cheap.
not expensive.
If it's like 5-10 points, easy. Slap it in if you have points left.
Yeah. 15 or less that I'm like super willing to consider it. 20 or more and I'm just probably not.
No. Clandestine Operation. Agents of the Imperium model only. Start of the declare battle formation step. You select 3 infantry units from your army, other than Terminators, and they gain infiltrate.
3. 3 is a good number.
Trois. Yes.
That's a good enhancement.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a really
Okay.
good enhancement. Yes.
Okay. I like that so far.
Yeah. No, it's quite solid. Yeah.
I like that so far.
I assume you're thinking of maybe Death Watch veterans.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely,
I
that's
think-
what I'm thinking of.
I think those might be quite solid if 3 of them got infantry.
Yeah, okay.
And they can be units joined by characters. Doesn't matter because you pick them at the end, at the start of the declare battle formation step.
Nice.
So, Fleet Master, Voidfarers model only. That's a new keyword we haven't seen yet so far.
Mhm.
Once per battle round, you can target the bearer's unit with Violent Acquisition, Masters of the Void, or close quarters barrage stratagems for 0 CP. So we will see.
Not for -1, for 0 CP.
Yes, and because it says the names of the strat, I believe it does actually work.
And I'll have to reread that, but I believe you're correct.
I believe so, but I would have to look at
Yeah.
yeah.
With the new changes, we'll have to see.
So we'll have to see what Violent Acquisition, Masters of the Void, and Close Quarters Barrage stratagems do.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, it doesn't allow a repeat.
once per battle round, you can target the bear's unit with that.
And we'll go ahead and just say it. The Voidfarer's model, because I think we might as well provide the context now, is the Rogue Trader Entourage.
Yes.
And the Rogue Trader Entourage can join Voidsmen and Navy Breachers. So a leader and those 2 units is what could get these strats. We'll talk about that when we get to those strats.
Yes. Combat Landers is the last enhancement. Voidfarers model only. Start of the battle formation step. You can select up to 3 Voidfarers units from your army, and they gain Deep Strike.
So only Voidfarers for the Deep Strike part.
Yes.
But still cool. I mean, good enhancements. Give 3
Yeah.
units Infiltrate, give 3 units Deep Strike. These are some these kind of feel like some 7th or 8th edition buffs.
Right? Yeah. No, these
I
are
do
good
not mind that, to be
enhancements.
clear.
Yeah.
That's just good.
Yeah. It just, those 2 enhancements, suddenly your army is operating in a much better manner.
Yeah. I like that better than my character is +1 strength.
All right. Violent Acquisition.
Oh, one of the 3 stratagems.
Exactly. You can make this 0 CP.
Okay.
Your shooting phase or the fight phase, you pick an Agents of the Imperium unit from your army. So literally any of them.
Okay.
Until the end of the phase, every time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit within range of an objective marker, you get sustained hits 1, lance, and ignores cover. Obviously, not all of those effects will apply to shooting or combat, but in
You'll get
shooting,
it,
you get
yeah.
sustained hits 1 and ignores cover. And combat, you get sustained hits 1 and lance. And those are good buffs.
Those are strong, good buffs to have.
Now, it is 2 CP, and it does have restrictions.
Yes.
But still pretty good. It's better
Solid,
if you can make
yeah.
it free.
If you have a way to make it free or cheaper, there are ways to make it cheaper on certain units as well as free with the enhancement, we think. That's very solid.
It's a good strat.
Yeah,
It's a little expensive.
A little expensive, but a very good effect, so you're going to look at using it anyways when you need it.
Yeah. Masters of the Void. 1
Okay.
CP in your movement phase. You pick a Voidfarer's character unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, each Agents of the Imperium unit from your army that is arriving from strat reserves this turn can be set up within your opponent's deployment zone. All other restrictions still apply.
So 1 CP arrive in your opponent's deployment zone on turn 2, essentially.
Yes.
And that's fine.
But it's all of your reserves can do that. It's not pick a unit. It's
just
you,
all...
You pick a character, you have to have them on the
Oh,
table,
okay.
and then all units from your army that arrive from strat reserves come in.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
It is. If
So
your
this
opponent
really wants you to
brings
take
an opening.
a rogue trader entourage with an enhancement, and then you can take whatever you want.
Well, the rogue trader commands the ship,
Yeah.
and then everyone else just gets cool because of it.
That is kind of cool, though.
It is, right?
That's a good stratagem.
Yeah, and you can use it for free on the guy with the enhancement.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yep. Close quarters barrage, which again is the last
This is
one.
the
you can make
last of
free.
the- okay.
Yeah. In your shooting phase, you pick a Voidfarer's unit from your army. Each time model in your unit makes a ranged attack that targets a unit within 12, improves strength and AP by 1.
+1 strength and AP when shooting someone within 12.
Correct.
And is that for Voidfarers only?
1 Voidfarer's unit
Okay,
from your
so
army.
this one is Voidfarers only. The others of these have been Agent of the Imperium. This is Voidfarers.
Yes. So
So
this
is Breacher or Voidsman Squad.
yes, Imperial Navy Breachers.
We'll have to reread the Breacher because that's a very good rule. +1 strength and AP is a
yeah.
great buff. We'll need to reread what Breachers do, but that does not have to be bad at all.
Just to be clear, you could also do that and Violent Acquisition, especially if you do that one for free, maybe,
Yeah, so
because
you
it's a
get
Voidfarer's unit.
Sustained.
Sustained, ignores
1.
cover, +1 AP, +1 strength.
That's good.
Is a good
Does-
suite of buffs.
Does the enhancement let you use one of those stratagems for free?
I believe
Surely.
it is once per battle round. You can target.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
all. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So you would do the 2 CP one.
Yeah.
You get sustained hits 1, ignore cover, spend a CP, get +1 strength, +1 AP. And that is a suite of buffs that makes even shotguns look good.
Yep.
All right. And you are also +1 to hit against the target.
Yeah, if you want to be.
Yeah. Those shotguns might crack.
Yeah, that will add up at some point.
All right. Emperor's Will, your movement phase, you pick an Agents of the Imperium unit.
Any agent. I love that.
Shoot in a turn in which you advance or fall back.
A solid strategy.
Solid strat. So far, I'm very impressed with this detachment.
Yeah, actually has good rules.
All right, Displacer Field. Your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit selected its targets. 1 Agents of the Imperium character unit from your army, other than Officio Assassinorum.
Fair enough.
That was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Models in your unit have a 4-up invuln save, and after they're done shooting you, unless you're within engagement range, you can normal move up to 6, and you have fly when you do so.
Okay, so you get a 4-up invulnerable save,
Yep,
and you get a normal move after they're done resolving the attacks.
of up to 6 inches.
That's obviously completely badass.
It
However-
is really cool.
Beyond that, what's the timing on the 4-up invuln? Is the 4-up invuln for the activation or to the end of the phase?
Until the end of the phase.
What about the normal move? Is it for this attack or all attacks?
So here's how it works. They shoot you.
Yep.
You immediately gain a 4-up invuln for the rest of the phase.
Okay,
And then as soon as that activation is done shooting you,
Got
you
it.
make a move.
so it's not every activation, but you'll get 1 move and a 4-up invuln for the rest of the phase.
Correct.
That's really good.
1 CP. And it
1
applies
CP.
to every Agents of the Imperium character unit.
Obviously, what I'm thinking of here is a watch match with 10 veterans.
Yeah, that's cracked.
That's a great stratagem.
Yeah, they shoot your 4-up invuln also
I'm behind
by.
the wall.
Or yeet.
Yeah, or go forward depending on the context of you getting shot. And this is in your opponent's shooting phase, so it won't work on Overwatch. But still,
Or they shoot you with indirect, you walk onto the objective.
if they bring out enough guns and they shoot me, I'm going to walk behind a wall.
Yeah.
And if they don't bring out enough guns, I'll go forward.
Mm-hmm. That's
That is
really
a
good.
really good stratagem. And it could be good on anything.
It also
Like on just
yeah.
1 wound T3 guys with a 4-up armor save and be really glad for a 4-up invuln if I have my 1 naval breachers plus Voidfarer unit, that unit's going to want a 4-up invuln sometimes.
Well, yeah, like you have a wall, you have guys on one side of the wall. If they jump 2 units to shoot you, 4-up invuln, and they're on the other side of the wall now, the second unit doesn't get to shoot.
Yeah, you go on the other side of the wall and you're safe. Very good stratagem, very useful. That can be applied in multiple ways.
It legitimately
highlight.
like world-class stratagem.
Yeah, that is a fantastic stratagem.
This would be good in any army.
There's not an army that would say no to this.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Yeah. That's very solid.
One stratagem left, right? See if it can hold up to that.
Selfless bodyguard. I would be shocked if it held up to that, but if it even got close, I'd be happy. Your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy unit selected its targets. 1 agent of the Imperium attached unit that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack with the precision ability is allocated to a character model, if there are 1 or more bodyguard models in your unit, roll a d6. On a 2-up, that attack is allocated to a bodyguard model of your choice instead.
This is very valuable to have. You're not actually going to use it much, I think. But if someone tried to precision out your important person, you can be like, all right, stop, give it back.
This is a strat you will never use. It is a strat that you have 5 strats in this detachment, and you have an overall, like, an effect just persisting that tells your opponent, do not use precision weapons.
Yeah. Don't pay for it.
Don't pay for it.
If it's free, they'll try, and maybe you'll use a strat.
No, it's worse. Because they'll bleed some damage through to the character and bleed some damage through to the unit.
That's a risky game to play if you like try to tank on the character, then roll a 1, then they die.
Well, it has to be just after they select the target, and you don't get to choose. So you have to roll the 2-ups.
Got it, okay.
But like if they pay for precision and you pay for selfless bodyguard, you are winning out of that exchange.
Yeah.
Because you're both spent a CP and you're going to bleed like a wound or 2 onto the character. And then the character's fine and you've taken a wound or 2 less on the unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good stratagem. I don't think it'll come up often. I think it'll just be like, hey, I have this stratagem. They'll be like, all right, I'm not an epic challenge. That's going to be 80% of its use.
Yep. I honestly,
that's
and
still
if
good.
that's all it is.
That's still good.
There's plenty of strats that just exist, never get used, but inform how your opponent has to play the game. And I love those strats.
Yeah, those are valuable. Very solid detachment overall.
Very
Lots
solid.
of good rules. Again, we'll have to kind of gauge how good the data sheets are that you can put here. But this is more useful than the last 2 detachments.
Yeah, it has some good rules. The ability to deep strike 3 units.
Yeah.
They do have to be Voidfarers units.
Yeah. Or infiltrate 3 of almost anything.
Almost anything. The ability to reactive move after being shot. The ability to give good offensive buffs. This is solid.
Yeah.
This is really solid.
It's a solid detachment. I think this is definitely the most agent. I mean, this is the agent's detachment now, if we're being honest, because the other 3 have very limited units that they apply to, and this applies to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, like...
This is what the index detachment would have been if they'd given us one.
You have, yes. You have the ability to, like, fall back and Eversur and charge. Like, you have things like that, too. It applies to all of your units, which is dope.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
It's fall back and shoot.
You can give infiltrate to the Eversur if you want.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Good for him.
That little speedy boy can start wherever the heck he feels like.
Yeah, I think he will.
I think he will.
That's very cool.
All right. Well,
that's all of the detachments.
Yes.
So we'll go through the data sheets now. A lot of these data sheets are similar to what they were before, and also we'll kind of review them with the lens of, is there a detachment that this likes, and also is there another army you would ally to, because these are each 2-purpose.
Yeah. You want to start going through, or you want me to?
I'll start.
Go for it.
And we can trade off.
Pass it over at some point.
Absolutely. So we start off with the generic Inquisitor, who is still a 4-wound human character with a 5-up invuln. The notable weapons that they have, I'm not going to read you every bolt pistol, sorry, are the Psychic Shockwave, which is an 18-inch Psychic Devastating Wound Torrent weapon. That is 2d6 shots, strength 3, AP 2, damage 1.
Okay, strength 3. Yeah.
It's still cool for a Devwound Flamer to just...
Is AP 2.
Yeah, no, it's very weird and funny.
Is it ignore cover base?
No.
So in that detachment, it gains
In
ignore
Hereticus,
cover.
it gains that, yep.
That's pretty dope.
You still have your choice of either being a Psyker or not. Being a Psyker gives you a noticeably better melee weapon and the devastating wound gun. Being not a Psyker gives you Blessed Wordings, which gives the unit it's leading a 6-up invulnerable save.
Sure.
A thing I do not care about for other than lore reasons. If you want to have a non-Psyker Inquisitor leading your sisters, go for it. But you could also have a Psyker one that's better in every way.
Yeah.
Its rules are that each time you target this model's unit with a stratagem on a 3+, you gain a CP.
It's not bad.
And while it's leading a unit, it can embark within a transport that its bodyguard could embark in. When it takes a good melee weapon, it's 4 attacks at weapon skill 3, strength 5, AP 2, damage D3.
That's not bad.
Yep. It also can take a combi weapon, just a generic, anti-infantry 4+ dev wound, rapid fire 1 combi weapon.
Does
Solid.
that also gain the Melta rule? Like both the combi weapon?
I think it's all
and
ranged weapons, yeah. Which is adorable.
The Inquisitor turns into kind of a beast in that
Yeah,
detachment.
it's a nice shooting unit there.
Yeah. We do need to look at keywords,
Yes.
because as we go forward, see what's like Voidfarers or Ordo whatever or whatever.
Yeah. The Inquisitor does not have any of the Ordo keywords, but every rule that referenced an Ordo also referenced Inquisitor.
Okay, all right. I was just like, why can't you put your Inquisitors in Ordos anymore? What is this?
Yeah. What a Inquisitor can join, because this is one of the things that can almost always take an enhancement in the various detachments. It can join a Death Watch kill team, Exaction Squad, Granite Terminator Squad, Imperium Badline Infantry, Imperial Navy Breachers, Inquisitorial Agents, Sisters of Battle, Subductor Squads, and Vigilance Squads. So it can join Breachers, all 3 kinds of cops, and the 3, arm, like the requisition units, which is the Death Watch Veterans, Battle Sister Squad, and Granite Terminators. You can join any of those. Notably, it doesn't have a deep strike inherently. So if you were to join it to the Grey Knight Terminator Squad, you wouldn't be deep striking unless you then found a way to give it deep strike, which I'm not really aware of.
I don't think that
I can't
exists.
think of one off the top of my head.
You can give units deep strike. You cannot give Terminators deep strike with it. No, you can't. You can give Voidfarers deep strike, not Voidfarers.
Yeah.
I don't think it's all right. Like you can join Battle Line, so you can join it to any army, but
I
it's not
think
that
the
great.
main value here is specifically that flame, the psychic flamer, with the enhancement in the Hereticus detachment that you're likely not going to take, and then it can carry a lot of enhancements. That's the value I see.
It Riku's CP on a 3-up, but that's not that big of a deal.
Next,
we have new and improved Kodiak.
New and improved Kodias.
Sick model.
Sick new model.
Sick model.
He is still a 4-wound human with a 2-up save and a 4-up invuln.
That is better than average.
He's better than average, but he's a T3 guy who moves 6.
4 wounds is better than average.
4 wounds
for
as well.
humans.
His psychic blast is D6 shots of ballistic skill 3, anti-demon 4+, anti-infantry 5+, dev wound psychic.
It used to be anti-infantry 4+.
Well, that's a very mild nerf, sadly, but why?
It's more significant than you'd want, because you used to be able to put him in custodian guard units and be a budget bin Draxus if you wanted a second one. But it's not worth it if you have to wound on 5s against infantry or all those.
He has the Nemesis Demon Hammer, which is still 3 attacks at 933, weapon skill 3. Pretty solid. His rules, he has the authority of the Inquisition that all Inquisitors have, where it can go to transport the bodyguard. And then 2 more rules. Malefic Wardings gives the unit it's leading a 6-up invulnerable save and a 4+ invulnerable save against psychic attacks and attacks made by demons. So it's an invulnerable save, not a feel no pain.
That's much worse.
But I believe it used to be only demons, and now it's also psychic attacks.
Yes, it used to only be demons. It used to be a 5-up feel no pain against.
Yeah,
actually, it might have been a 5-up against psychic and demons.
Oh, okay. But a 4-up invuln is sometimes really valuable, but unfortunately, oftentimes you would rather have a feel no pain than an invuln, because you already theoretically had a save on the unit.
Yes. And a lot of the things he wants to join
Mm-hmm.
are going to be things that have a 4-up invuln anyway.
Yep. And finally, his spy network is unchanged. If your opponent gains a CP as a result of an ability, roll a dice. On a 2+, you get 1 too.
Sometimes that's insane, and sometimes it is.
It never comes up. You just don't know what kind of game it's going to be.
Yep. If your opponent's playing Azrael, that's nuts. If your opponent's playing an Autarch Wayleaper, that's nuts. If your opponent's playing Gretchen, that's 50% of the time nuts.
And if your opponent has none of those things, it just doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Finally, it has a Warrior ability, which is new and quite valuable.
Something I do want to say.
Oh, yeah.
Is this only applies to CP gained as the result of an ability.
Correct.
So discarding cards, that doesn't count.
That's true.
So things of that nature, the detachment rule or the army rule of knights and Votan, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
It's only datasheet abilities.
Yep. So the final thing to note is the Gladovan Cyber Eagle.
What? Can I see that?
Gladovan?
Glavoden?
Glavoden. My apologies. Glavoden. My mistake. Glavoden.
Oh,
In your command phase, so command, so you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches of the bearer. It doesn't mention visible. And until the start of your next command phase, that unit cannot have the benefit of cover, and you place a Cyber Eagle token next to it. The model comes with a big eagle.
that is pretty baller.
18-inch pick a thing to ignore cover is great. Command phase makes me mildly sad, but frankly, if it was movement phase and 12 inches, it would still be good. So 18-inch command phase is still pretty strong.
Yeah, you put him like up behind a wall in the center of the board.
You'll get value out of it.
Your opponent pushes, you're like, you don't get cover, which is
A
really,
strong
really
rule.
good.
Yeah, depending on what detachment and what army you're allying him to, there may or may not be ways for you to ignore your opponent's cover. Knights, don't ignore cover.
So if you put him in knights, it's just, hey, did you end a movement phase within 18 inches of me?
Yeah.
Get wrecked.
Space Marines don't actually have a lot of ignore cover, funny enough.
No, they don't.
Not much.
Other than flamers.
Guard do. Sisters kind of do, but it's very army dependent.
What turns off cover and guard? Hellhounds?
Hellhounds.
Some people don't take hellhounds.
Some people don't take Hellhounds. This is a different way to ignore cover. That part is generally useful. Overall, by the way, since we're going through the data sheets, we have to mention, we don't know the final points for this codex.
Yeah.
We only have the points that are before this codex comes out, because that's what's on the GW website. So we don't know if the points at this back of the book are accurate, but we can base this on the experience of every other codex of 10th edition and say that they're probably not perfect. So we're not really factoring them in.
For data sheets that change, we will literally just have to wait and see what the MFM has in store for us.
Yeah.
He seems pretty good. He's worse in some ways. The ignores cover ability is cracked when it goes off, but it is pre-measurable and avoidable.
Yep.
So,
But ignore cover is a generally very useful rule, so I'm happy for it.
it's really good if you get it.
Yeah.
Can I?
You can do the next one. The next one is Inquisitor Draxus, who did not change much.
Changed a little bit. And it was for the worse, but I don't care.
Yeah, it's very
So,
slightly.
Draxus is my favorite Imperial agent. It was the first one I looked at, that data sheet. I will be honest with you, and Draxus is still the best. So Draxus, all the same stats. Dirge Singer stayed exactly the same. That is her gun.
Her dev
That's
wound gun.
Her actual gun, the one she's holding in her hands. That one is still anti-infantry 4+, assault and dev wounds with 4 shots at 402. Great gun.
It's a great weapon.
It's a great weapon. And you put that in a Custodian Guard squad, which I personally love. Rerolls wounds. It's
Maybe double shoot once a game.
double shoots once a game. It's a really good gun. Psychic Tempest used to be not ignores cover. It used to be indirect fire, and it was 18 inches. It is no longer indirect fire. I personally don't care.
Yeah, still good.
Still really good, and so what? Your 18-inch range gun didn't indirect fire.
You
I'm
lose
not.
some chip damage that you weren't
Yeah.
counting on.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it never came up, but it rarely came up. And most of the time, she's just firing both guns direct fire. The indirect fire takes a while to add up if it's the only gun going in. But as part of a complete bullet breakfast, if you shoot the unit and that gun and Dirge Singer, and then you do it all over again, it is quite good.
Yeah, quite strong custody still.
It is sustained hits 2 and 602 with 6 shots.
Yep.
Very good. She can be attached to all the same things you would expect her to be able to be attached to. You can attach her Deathwatch kill team, which will give her reroll hits on her gun if you feel like it against Xenos. And she's +1 to hit against Xenos for her unit. She's still really, really good.
Yep. She still does the no shoot me from distance.
From 18 inches away, which is less impactful than it was because you no longer have a forward feel no pain and Custodians against it. Custodian Guard are the thing that Drax is bit.
That's definitely
really
where
good
she's
with.
at her best.
Yes. And that combo still very much intact.
Yeah.
She has the same profile in melee that she had before. Yeah, just love Draxus, and she is very slightly nerfed. Maybe they'll drop her points.
Probably not.
I would be surprised if they did.
Maybe she'll go up. Who knows?
She better not. She's the best. All right, Greyfax.
Yeah.
Greyfax. She went up to leadership 6 from leadership 4,
which was just a typo that they took a while to fix.
Yep. They did take over a year to fix a typo. So she has 2 guns, which I have no idea if these are the same as before. They are. Okay, cool. One of them's Dev Wounds Precision Anti-Character, and the other is kind of bad. But pick off like a 4-wound character pretty well. If she rolls good on both shots. She has a mastercrafted power sword that's pretty dope. She gives her ranged weapons to her unit, anti-psyker 4+.
Yep.
And
Similar
then
before, but still useful.
if you target a unit below half strength, +1 to hit.
That has changed. She used to cause desperate escape when you fell back from her unit.
And I will say, neither of those are impactful.
Yeah.
The one that it
I think
currently
the
is.
Devlin one was better slightly, but like it just wasn't a big.
Oh, it was like,
Not Devlin, sorry, the desperate escape.
yeah, Desperate Escape was slightly better. +1 to wound against, whenever you get a benefit against a unit that is almost dead,
Yeah.
it's not that great.
Yeah, giving anti-psyker 4+ to a unit is still fine. I'm just not excited about it.
Yeah. Both her and Greyfax have grenades, and so does the Inquisitor.
Yep.
So if you're an army that does not have access to grenades, Custodes, you still do. You can run her up and blah.
Yeah.
All right. Would you like to cover the spiciest new data sheet in the book?
Let's do it. So this is a new data sheet that did not exist before, but not a new model. This is the Navigator. The Navigator is a Blackstone Fortress model, which I assume they'll be selling separately soon.
I hope so.
I hope so. I actually already have one painted. I played it when I played Blackstone Fortress. That was my character.
Oh, okay.
Very convenient. Good job 4 years ago, John. The Navigator is a 3-wound human character with OC1 Leadership 7 and a 4-up invulnerable save. So it's just T3, 3 wounds, 4-up invuln. It is equipped with a las pistol, which does exactly what it sounds like, and a psychic weapon in combat that's a Force Orb Cane. It's 3 attacks, a weapon skill 4, 6 1d3.
Sure.
Very undecided about whether or not that's going to do any damage or kill G-Space.
You run to combat, just bonks you with a rhythm stick and just...
Yep. However, what is important is that this is a leader that can join Navy Breachers and Voidsmen, and that it has 2 rules that are amazing.
Very good.
First is that enemy units that are set up on the battlefield as reinforcements cannot be set up within 12 inches of this model. This model is just a 12-inch no-go zone.
It's very strong.
That is fantastic. It doesn't have to have any friends. You could just buy 2 of these as allies.
Yep.
And that would be very good.
Currently back to the book points, which mean very little. 120 points for that.
Because
I
60
could,
each.
yeah, I could think of worse things to spend my points on.
Yeah, that's not like insane, but that's pretty dang good.
It's one of the cheaper ways to access that kind of effect for most armies. In fact,
Yeah.
a lot of armies don't have access to that effect
At
full
all.
stop.
Yeah, without taking the agents.
Imperial Knights quite like it.
They do. Yeah, because this is much cheaper than buying the old Henchman unit plus Inquisitor was.
Yes. That was like 110 points. And for that, you can now get 2 of them. You can put in separate parts of the board and really carpet the backfield with no show up, please.
Yeah. Its other ability is Third Eye, which is a psychic ability, which I'm sure will matter a lot. At the start of your shooting phase, select an enemy unit within 12 and invisible. That unit must take a battle shock test, subtracting 2 if it's infantry. If you fail, in addition to being battle shocked, you take 3 mortal wounds. That is generically just damn good.
Yep.
That is just damn good.
It's just good to basically everything across the board, as long as it's infantry.
I mean, it's obviously
fine
it's
in
better in
other
infantry,
stuff.
but it's fine in other stuff.
But like you walk up, Deathwing Knights, take a leadership 8 check. If you fail it, you will not get Armor of Contempt. Also, 3 mortal wounds for your trouble, please.
It's very annoying.
Yeah, it's just good.
Yeah. Next up we have...
It also means that like he walks up to a unit of scouts and is like, 3 mortals, also a weird bonk stick.
Yeah.
He's not amazing, but he'll kill like 2 scouts a decent amount of the time.
Yeah, quite often. Just funny. Next we have the Ministorum Priest. He is a 3-wound human with a 4-up invul who has a 3-shot bolt pistol or a flamer. You get your choice of the Zealot's Vindicator or the like a bolt pistol and a club. Basically, you take the Zealot's Vindicator because it's better at both shooting and combat. I love when they do that. So you can either have a bolt pistol or a strength 5 flamer, and then you either get 3 attacks at 4-2-1 or 3 attacks at 5-1-2. And the 5-1-2 is also the flamethrower.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, so you take that
probably
one.
do that. You can give the flamethrower Melta and Dev Wounds if you take that.
You certainly can. While it's leading a unit, melee weapons get sustained 1. Once per battle in the fight phase, this model gets +3 strength and attacks.
Oh, hello.
I mean, it's still 3 attacks at weapon skill 4, but hey, sustained hits if it's leading someone.
Again, just like the Navigator walks up to 5 like swooping hawks and decent odds at killing them.
Yeah, it's cute. What it can lead is inquisitorial agents, breachers, the various RBD squads, and Sisters of Battle squads, and it can join those units even if an inquisitor is there. So this is the way to get a second character in. If for whatever reason you really want 2 enhancements on the same unit, this is the only way I see to do that.
You're like, I need these shotgun cops to have 2 enhancements.
I would have to look back through them to see if that's the thing I'd want. I mean, look, I don't think sustained 1 in melee is particularly amazing on any of these units. No. But it's there. Next, we have inquisitorial agents. You can read if you want, or I can breeze it real fast.
Breeze it real fast,
Great.
John.
They are now 1 wounds instead of 2.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
2 wounds was nonsense.
They are -1 to be wounded if an inquisitor is leading the unit. They carry a vast array of weapons from a AP1 bolt pistol to a heavy bolter to a plasma pistol, which they get 1 of in a squad.
I assume they get 1 of everything.
No, it's a bunch of AP1 bolt pistols and 1 servitor with choice of plasma, multi-melta, or heavy bolter.
No, I mean like every war gear option and weapon or whatever, they get like 1 of things.
Yeah, they get like
1 heavy weapon. They get 1 dude with a melee weapon.
They've changed the unit size as well. It's now either 6 or 12 instead of 4 to 12.
Okay.
Because it's 5 and a gun servitor, or it's 10 and 2 gun servitors.
Well, I'm gonna really rev up those plasma cannons.
They've removed a lot of the old options, so forget about the Mystic and all that stuff. Instead, you're just another henchman. And you can, basically the only war gear option is a Tome Skull, which you can have 1 per 5 dudes. And once per battle for each Tome Skull this unit is equipped with, select, at the start of any phase, select a friendly agent of the Imperium within 6 inches that is battle shocked, and it's no longer battle shocked. Oh, I'm sorry, you pick a unit within 6. If it's friendly, it's no longer battle shocked. If it's an enemy, it takes a battle shock. Once per game per Tome Skull.
It's still fine.
It's fine, yeah.
It's free, so like, why not?
Yeah, but it no longer has 1 guy who's a 12-inch no deep strike zone if there's an Inquisitor leading. It no longer has that. It is now just, it's 5 dudes and a gun servitor. The gun servitor gets your choice of plasma, heavy bolter, or multi-melta. And then there's a bunch of, you can take 1 per 5. 1 per 5 can be equipped with a Tome Skull. 1 per 5 can be equipped with a plasma pistol. 1 per 5 can be equipped with an eviscerator, which is 2 attacks at 6/2/2 weapon skill 3.
Weapon skill 3?
Yeah. Oh. And 1 per 5 can be equipped with a mystic stave, which is anti-psyker 4+, 2 attacks at 5/1d3.
This unit had better be cheap as chips.
Yeah, it seems like it's the default cheap person for your Inquisitor. But because it's no longer 2 wounds and it lost a lot of its special rules, this has to be the cheapest option for me to look at it. Correct. Just being really transparent about what this is.
Yep.
If it's the cheapest one, I like it. If it's not, you won't take it.
Correct. It has a deep case of 1 of everything syndrome. If everyone could take that eviscerator, I would probably take it. And if everyone could take that plasma cannon, I would definitely take it. But
look,
can't.
The 1 of everything at least includes a multi-melta. Oh, by the way, this is how you get more than 1 multi-melta in a unit. You get 2 if you take a 12-man. Zap, zap.
Right.
But that's what this is. Yeah. So
those 2 multi-meltas can shoot directly into combat.
Their weapons skill, they're ballistic skill 4 and heavy. They're not heavy. It's just ballistic skill 4. Okay. The servitor is very methodical.
We have talked enough about this data sheet.
I think so. You want Navy Breachers?
I would love Navy Breachers.
There you go.
I want the Navy Breachers to do anything at all. That dude has a cool fire axe. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's read through their abilities.
Yeah.
They are OC2, which is pretty tight. Mm-hmm. They are Voidfarers, and they are Battle Line.
That's good.
And they are grenades and smoke and retinue and the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
They have 1 million keywords for the record. They have
That's a lot.
8 keywords.
Wow.
All right. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. If the target is within range of an objective marker, you can reroll full wounds.
That's an attack, shooting and combat?
Yes.
Good for them.
Okay, that is legitimately
that's cool.
good. Especially in the Voidfarers detachment, you can give them +1 to hit, sustained hits.
Yeah. I think I'm
cover,
very willing to
strength.
take 1 of those units with a leader.
Yeah.
If they're not too expensive.
Hopefully not. Okay, once per battle, when you select this unit as the target of a grenade strat, you can target 1 enemy unit visible to and within 18 that is not within engagement.
Once per battle?
Once per battle, you can grenade at 18 instead of 8.
Okay. That's useful.
It's a good effect.
Yeah, it's useful.
Once per battle, when this unit is selected to shoot until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in this unit gain ignores cover.
Once per battle?
Once per battle.
All right. But just on the turn, you step up and pop the +1 AP stratagem, slammed out, ignores cover.
Yep, and you do just get I believe you just get those as rules.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's just like a thing you get in the unit.
Yep. The bearer of the Endurance Shield has a 4-up invulnerable save.
I think it's 1 per 10 gets an Endurance Shield.
That sounds right. One other Navis Armsman is equipped with heavy shotgun, close combat weapon, Endurance Shield.
Okay. Then what's the range loadout here? Is it just
Okay,
like you get
so
a bunch of shotguns?
the sergeant can take his shotgun be replaced with an auto pistol and chainsword, bolt pistol, or power weapon.
Okay.
One Armsman's Navis Las Volley can be replaced with a melta-gun or plasma gun.
So 1 melta-gun or plasma gun per 10?
Yep. One Navis shotgun can be replaced with an auto pistol and power weapon. One Navis shotgun can be replaced with auto pistol and chain fist. And one Navis Armsman can be equipped with 1 demolition charge.
So if you're trying to shoot, you're getting a melta-gun, a demo charge, and like 8 shotguns at best, maybe 7 shotguns and a bolt pistol.
Yeah, one of them has... So the shotguns are 2 shots at 401, 12 inches with assault.
2 shots, 401 assault. If you're rerolling wounds, strength 5, AP 1, ignore cover, that can add up relatively quickly.
Sustained hits with hitting on 2s, yeah.
Yeah. Are they ballistic skill 3?
Sag.
So ballistic skill 4 plus 1 to hit, they could be hitting on 3s. So default, this does very little, but if you stack some buffs, it might do something funny.
The heavy shotgun is a shotgun with 4 shots.
Okay.
And then the Las
take it.
Volley is a heavy shotgun with a strength 6.
So 4 shots, 601?
Yes.
That's cool.
Or you give him a plasma gun, or you give him a melta gun.
Okay.
Up to you.
Probably take a plasma gun.
This is a lot. The chain fist has 1 attack.
Yes.
The close combat weapon
Yeah.
has 1 attack.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work
To do not much.
to do not much. Now I will with the strats and the enhancements, blah, 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 they do a reasonable amount of damage.
Yeah. It is 10 OC2 bodies with a 4-up armor save
Yep.
and T3 1 wound.
Mm-hmm.
1 4-up invul hidden in there.
I like the ability to grenade at 18.
If this unit is in the much cheaper than current price range, it could... The data sheet is not inherently flawed. It's just like, it's a cheap unit, and all the little special stuff you just have to accept is just like fake. If this was like 60 to 70 points, I could really take that.
Yeah, I wish it just hit on 3s and it was like 80 points. Or had some
Instead,
AP
it
on
hits
their
on
weapons
4s and it's
or
currently
something.
like 105.
I'm just saying, for dudes that are supposed to like breach void armor and stuff and supposed to like raid enemy ships, I'm not that scared if these are the guys coming around the corner at me. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
But you can stack a lot of rules.
Yep.
Rogue Trader Entourage.
Okay, so this is the Voidfarer character we've heard so much about.
Yes, and this is a unit that can join breachers. So,
Correct.
like, that entire unit can then gain a bunch of extra shots.
Yep.
And then also gain reroll wounds.
Yeah.
So, that is pretty intriguing. Let's see what they are equipped with. There are no war gear options. So, the Rogue Trader comes with a household pistol and a cane rapier. The Assassin is Dart Mask and Power Blade.
This takes 5 minutes to resolve.
It does. It does. Because, yeah. Honestly, one unit like this is pretty funny.
Give me the cliff notes.
Some of these guns are actually not bad.
Okay, what you got?
So there's a 1 voltaic pistol, sustained hits 2, 3 shots at 421, hitting on 3s.
4-2-1, very cool.
Sustained 2.
Yeah, I like that.
Household pistol, which is 2 shots at 522, hitting on 3s with pistol and dev wounds.
5-2-2 dev wounds pistol. I like that. If
Hitting
you
on
can give that
3s as well.
sustained and some rerolls and some ignore cover, some +1 AP and strength, that could end up killing 2 Space Marines very funnily.
A Dart Mask anti-infantry 2+ precision pistol that at 1 shot, it's strength 2, anti-infantry 2+, AP 1, damage D3.
Kind of funny.
Yeah, and then a las pistol.
Okay.
It gives its unit infiltrators.
Solid.
If your army includes 1 or more units with this ability, after both players have deployed their armies, you select D3 Imperium battle line units from your army and redeploy them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a variety of combat weapons.
Cool.
I like the fact you add this to an Imperial Navy breacher unit, and between absolutely everything, you actually do have a real amount of shooting.
Yeah, you can definitely wipe an intercessor squad with this in a breacher unit.
For sure.
Yeah, could happen.
I think you can kill bigger units than that, honestly. Legitimately.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. Reroll wounds, sustained, +1 to hit, like...
If you're spending 2 CP, I think so, yeah.
Well, you have the thing to make the strat free.
I think it's a -1 CP.
Do you?
I think it's
Because if you name the strat, right?
I think the name of strat only applies to the duplicating it.
Well, we'll see.
We'll double check.
Yeah, we'll
Spending
double check.
some CP and an enhancement and getting all of this together. If
not that
it's
bad.
too expensive, it doesn't do enough. But if it's cheap enough, it's very funny.
You also need a rogue trader entourage to hold some of those enhancements.
Yeah, I think taking at least one of those units is valuable.
Voidsmen at arms are exactly the same as they were before, but they get lethal hits against the closest target instead of having to do some weird pick a target.
They're
thing.
also a 6-strong unit instead of a 5-strong,
Oh, they get the canid.
and they are never a 10-strong unit.
Yes.
Yep.
They
So-
never were a 10 strong unit.
Yeah, they could be,
No, they could have been, but
Yeah.
they never were.
but they never were. Yeah, so now it's just 6 models, just the 5 Voidsmen and the dog. That is the Voidsmen at arms unit.
We'll see how cheap or expensive they are. They're not that good. But,
They're the exact same as before, but if they're the cheapest option, that'll be good enough. Because is it still an OC2 battle line unit?
Sure is.
That's value.
Sorry, no longer battle line.
Hmm.
Does have grenades, not battle line.
Okay, but OC2.
OC2.
That's cool.
OC2. Vigilant squad. We have shotgun cops.
Yep.
Shotgun cops have whenever they make an attack against a ranged attack against a unit below half strength, +1 to wound.
Yep.
Once per battle at the start of the command phase, you can select an objective marker within 6 inches. All enemy units, other monster and vehicles within range take a battle shock test.
I think that ability is going to be shared across the next 2 cops.
Yes, the Nuncio Aquila.
Yep.
2 dudes can get their shotgun replaced with non-duplicate mediocre ranged weapons.
Yep. That's fine. We
These
haven't
guys
figured them out.
better be cheap. They're OC2, They are battle line, they're not good.
This is the okay.
We've got exactions.
Yep.
They used to be pretty
OC1.
cheap. They are OC1, and they are an 11-man unit. Same thing with the vigilance. 11 strong unit. They have at the start of your command phase, you can top up D3 destroyed dudes back to the unit.
That's
So-
the new meta pack instead of a feeling pain.
Instead of the field no pain.
Cool.
Ranged weapons get ignores cover out of the unit. They have the Aquila. And at the start of the battle, pick an enemy unit in your opponent's army. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack targets them, you have lethal hits and precision, which again is a datasheet ability that exists and you will not use.
Yep. They still have the same Nuncio Vox as the other unit, right?
Yes, they have a bunch of random equipment that adds up to being slightly better than if you didn't take them, but not better than other units.
Yes. And then the final one, I think, is the melee one with shields.
Yes, I like these because they have a 4-up invuln.
I like that a lot more. And
I
a
like-
3-up armor.
And a 3-up armor.
That is a genuinely durable body.
I
If it
actually
is a reasonable cost.
quite
Doesn't
like
need to be
these.
cheap. Just
Yes.
reasonable.
Now, the Puppo does not have an invuln.
True.
Specifically, he does not have a little Puppo shield.
But he has a 3-up save.
But he does have a Puppo 3-up save, yes.
Good.
Good for him. Every time a model in this unit is destroyed by a melee attack on a 4-up, it fights on death, which for a unit that has 2 attacks apiece at 4/1/1 hitting on 4s, not the best. But they will beat up Eldar,
Yeah.
Sisters,
Cultists.
Guardsmen.
They beat up cultists extremely well.
Very well. No save, get out of here.
Honestly, if this is a cheaper than Sacrosanct unit to just be 1 wound, 3-up armor, 4-up invuln, that's a good add. If it's a
Yeah.
little bit cheaper than a Sacrosanct unit.
They can also battle shock an enemy unit at the start of a command phase.
Yeah, still got the
If they're
Nuncio
armored.
Vox.
And they battle shock every unit on the objective. So this is
Adorable.
a time where I actually care about that.
Yeah. I quite like that unit if the points are reasonable. If it costs too much, it costs too much. But
Yes. They have a 5-man Grey Knight Terminator unit that is exactly the same as a Grey Knight Terminator unit in every single way, except it is a 5-man and also does not have an army rule.
yeah. Also, I believe you cannot put a heavy weapon on the ancient. I don't know if that was only paladins.
That's
or...
only paladins.
Okay, I see. Yeah. But it gets lethal hits on the charge.
It gets lethal hits on the charge.
These are
Plus
Grey
1
Knight
OC for the
Terminators.
banner. It can
Yep.
restore a destroyed model. It is legitimately not a bad unit because it is OC3 Terminators that res a destroyed model every turn.
It's pretty good. Are they battle line?
They are not.
Fair enough.
They are requisition. You can get one of them.
Okay, we had Death Watch yet?
You want to do the Death Watch?
I would love to do the Death Watch.
I figured you might. The Grey Knight Terminators they're not bad, right? Because like
Mm-hmm.
OC3 durable bodies are something some armies want,
Yep.
and they do heal, which can let you like walk the unit out onto the objective with some dudes behind terrain.
Mm-hmm.
They shoot, you pull the model that's in the open, then you res back on and take the objective back. You can do
And-
stuff like that. It's pretty fun.
And notably, it had the requisitioned keyword, which means you can take one as an agent.
Right.
Friend. All right, next we have Watch Captain Artemis. He is a 4-wound Space Marine captain. I hate that.
Not sure why.
With a 4 pinvuln, his gun is still a D6 shot flamer that is also anti-infantry 4 plus dev wounds, which is very funny. He has a mastercrafted power weapon, just a 6 attack, damage 2 power sword. Pretty cool. And his rule is that he has a 6-up feel no pain. While he's leading a unit, he gives it lethal hits, which is a little bit of a not combo with the detachment that you would most think to take him in.
Why not?
Because you can choose lethal hits for the army, but that's what he does.
So you don't have to choose lethal hits. You can choose sustained hits.
Yeah, exactly. And then the first time he dies on a 2+, he stands up with 1 wound remaining.
Oh, 1 wound remaining is so sad.
Yeah, I
'cause
do
he only
like
has
standing
4.
up.
I like standing up. He's probably, if you take him by himself.
Yeah, maybe.
No unit, which makes it depend on how many points he is, because you can walk out on an objective, get shot, stand up, fail your battle shock check. Oops.
Yeah. That's Artemis.
That's Artemis.
The Watchmaster
always
is
say.
a lot more interesting.
Yes, at least he has 5 wounds.
He is a 5-wound Space Marine character with a 2-up save and a 4 pinvuln. His Vigil Spear is the same as before, still frustratingly D3 damage, but 6 attack lance, 6 2D3 is cool. It can join.
That's a good stat
It's
line.
a good stat.
That's
line.
a good stat line.
He was good before. He's good now. Notably, one of his rules has changed. One hasn't. He still lets the unit he's leading, which is going to be Deathwatch veterans, nothing else. It can shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back. A phenomenal rule.
Great rule.
Great rule. In addition, he got better because he lost the if Warlord Vectora, or Vect, sad.
Oh, that
but
is
he
pretty
gained
good.
if not Warlord, because it's all the time, once per battle round, give a 0 CP strat. So,
Pretty good.
so it'll be -1 because of the new rules, but I think I'd rather have that than old Vect.
Vect was cracked, though.
Yeah, to be fair, I never used him in the Vect Aura because that was not a very long time. I used him when it was Vect if he's the Warlord on the table.
Yeah.
But now if you have like multiple Watchmasters, they all get value.
Well, only one of them a turn, right?
Yeah, but the non-Warlord ones never had the other rule.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather have a Vector. A Vect is pretty good.
I like free strats. I'm a sucker for 'em. Next, we have the Deathwatch Kill Team. This is 5 OC2 Space Marine bodies.
Oh, can it not be 10?
No, it can be.
Okay.
Sorry, it's a 5 or 10 man.
Okay, good.
These are battle line.
Can it? Oh, yeah,
They
4.
are battle line.
Yep. That's good. That means the
And-
Deathwatch Kill Team detachment is
Yeah,
not
so it's-
necessarily awful.
Yeah, so it's just 5 or 10 Space Marines. That's what the stat line is. Their weapons are basically the same as before. The frag cannon is the exact same thing as before. The Infernus Heavy Bolter is the same thing as before. The most notable difference in the weapons is that they no longer get Deathwatch veteran weapons. They now get your choice of either a bolt gun, stalker bolt gun, or Deathwatch shotgun. So if you saw them lump the 3 different types of weapons into one thing and then built your kits accordingly, sorry, they're back.
Oh, that is not a good sign for some things.
Yep. So this is a bolt gun is a bolt gun.
My Eradicators are equipped with heavy melter rifles and regular melter rifles.
Well, we've already had a Space Marine Codex, so I think you're safe.
Probably.
The Stalker pattern bolt gun is 1 shot of 412 precision heavy, ballistic skill 3. The Deathwatch shotgun is 402 18-inch assault, which is still a cool profile.
Yeah.
However,
It's pretty decent.
for every 5 models in the unit, there's a lot of up to 2 can do, up to 1 can do this. There are so many that you're never going to take the basic weapons, if I'm being honest. Because for every 5 models in the unit, up to 2 can have a bolt gun and a Astartes shield, which just gives a 4 pinnacle, or a power weapon and a Astartes shield. You'll take
That's
the power
pretty
weapon
decent.
over the bolt gun, I think. So you can get 2, sword and board guys per 5. Then for every 5 models in the unit, up to 2 can have their bolt gun and power weapon replaced with a Thunderhammer, a Deathwatch Thunderhammer, which is the Strength 10 AP 3 damage 3 Thunderhammer.
Oof, that is a good Thunderhammer.
Sorry, Strength 10 AP 2 damage 3, but 3 attacks, dev wounds 10 2 3.
3 attacks? Damn, that is a good profile.
It is a great Thunderhammer. It's the same as before, but I loved it before and I love it now. For every 5 models, you can have 1 Stalker pattern bolt gun and close combat weapon.
It
which I'm
was
not gonna
better
do.
when you had access to Oath, though, because I assume it still hits on 4s.
Yes, but you still can reroll hits against Xenos. For every 5 models, you can get 2 shotguns. For For every 5 models, you can get 1 frag cannon.
What?
And for
Hold on.
you can only get 1 frag cannon per 5, not 2. The box. And same thing, you can get 1 Infernus Heavy Bolter.
Oh, so you get 2 frag cannons and
For
2
10.
Infernus Heavy Bolters for 10.
Yep. So if you want to recap the Infernus Heavy Bolter, it is your choice of 2 things.
A Heavy Bolter.
Or a Heavy Flamer. It's
Right.
cool.
It's not bad.
I would rather take that than a Deathwatch shotgun.
Well, you got me over a barrel here, John.
I mean, and then you get a 1 black shield total, and the Watch Sergeant can get a Xenophase Blade, and he can have a combi weapon.
You are correct. I would like an Infernus Heavy Bolter more than a shotgun, but I would like a frag cannon more than
So
a Infernus Heavy Bolter.
realistically, if you run a 5 strong, you're going to run 1 frag cannon, 2 thunder hammers, a sergeant with a Xenophase Blade and a shield, and the last guy is either going to take an Infernus Heavy Bolter or a shield.
If you run a 10,
If you run a 10, you're going to run the sergeant. You're going to run 2 frag cannons, 4 thunder hammers, and you have 3 guys left, and you're going to take 3 of, either 2. You're either going to take 3 storm shields just to tank, or you're going to take 2 heavy bolters, or a black shield, or a combination thereof.
what does a Black Shield do?
A black shield is a dude equipped with black shield blades. He has 4 attacks of 5-2-1 twin linked. Frankly, I think I'd rather have the shield.
I don't know. That's not bad. 4
Yeah.
attacks of 5-2-1 twin linked.
Yeah, but the regular guy with the shield is 3 attacks of 5-2-1 not twin linked. I think I'd rather have an extra 4 pinball.
Depends on where the
Because
unit's at.
everyone who keeps the Death Watch power weapon gets 3 attacks of 5-2-1 power. And the Xenophase Blade is 4 attacks of 5-2-1 Devlins. And the Sergeant will just take that in a shield because that's just what you'll do.
Yeah, I could see a unit being 4 heavy thunder hammers, 2 frag cans, 2 Infernus Heavy Bolters, 2 dudes with shields and power weapons.
Yeah.
One of those is
One of those is
Xenophase
Xenophase Blade. Yep, that's great.
It's a decent
There
loadout.
is no universe where I'm taking a shotgun or a stalker bolt gun. And that's okay. That's what the unit is. Their special rule is still reroll 1s to hit or all hits against not Imperium and Chaos. If this is in the same range of points cost as before, where it's ballpark 200 for 10 dudes with very good weapon options, this is a good unit.
Yeah, and Watchmaster's
If
a
the
good character.
Watchmaster giving it advanced fallback and do whatever it wants, if that package costs in the neighborhood of 300, that's still a good unit. Building an entire army around that is a little bit of a stretch, but it's not bad. And I think it's
not
better
impossible.
than most of the options here.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. It can actually do damage, and you need some of that in an army, it turns out.
Yeah. Final Death Watch data sheet here. We have the Corvus Black Star.
What, if anything, does this do?
It is still a stealthy 14 wound flyer with T10 and hover mode. It gets a flyover mortal every time it makes a normal move. Pick an enemy unit, roll 6 dice, a 5-up is immortal. You will choose to ignore his cover instead of smoke because you already have the stealth keyword.
Sick.
You have your
Okay.
choice of smoke keyword or ignore his cover on all ranged weapons.
Yeah, if you already have stealth, that's not actually that hard to to
It
decide.
holds 12 Death Watch infantry models. I don't know why 12, but maybe you have Artemis separately. And it has a range of guns that are decent. This is the same thing as before, essentially, which is that the Corvus Black Star is a perfectly fine data sheet with guns that hovers that probably is going to cost too much.
Probably. Now, if it doesn't,
That
it's
it's suddenly
interesting. It's very
Yeah,
interesting.
It's a smaller Storm Raven. It
Can you
has-
use the bolt weapon thing on it?
No.
No, the
All the stratagems are infantry only.
Sag.
Armor of Contempt and I think switching tactics. I think you can do on it.
Got it.
Everything else was infantry.
But you could theoretically have 3 of these show up, ignore obscuring, and all get sustained hits on the same turn.
And ignore cover, yeah.
Yeah.
You could also just put them in the +1 to hit against the target in the other detachment.
That's
Which
not
is
bad
kinda
either.
fine. What this guns it has
Yeah.
is it's going to have singular Hurricane Bolter. It's going to have
Hold on. That is what, 6 shots, rapid fire 6, twin linked 401?
exactly,
Cool.
and then it's going to have either a twin assault cannon or a twin las cannon, and it's
Okay.
going to have 2 shots of 10 -2 D flat 3 at 48-inch range.
Oh, what?
2 shots, strength 10, AP 2, flat 3, 48 inches.
Okay, I heard more shots than that.
No, 2 shots.
Got it. That's not bad.
Instead of that, you could have 2d6 +2 double blast 501. Depending on what you're shooting at.
Yeah. I like 2 of those in a twin las cannon. That doesn't sound terrible.
Yeah. If this thing is a little bit cheap, I think you could take it. And if it's not, you won't.
That is correct.
That's about
It's not a great flyer.
No, but it's a fine flyer.
It's okay.
Better than some.
Yes. There are a lot of bad flyers.
That's it for Death Watch. We are now on to Assassins. I'll let you have that.
Thank you. Assassins are super cool.
Yep.
Everyone loves
the
assassins.
Assassins got better.
They did. So first up, a thing that they all have is shadow assignment. Cannot be your warlord. And they are all epic heroes, so they cannot gain enhancements.
Fair enough.
That is still a thing.
Totally reasonable.
Okay. If your army is agents of the Imperium, i.e. you are not allying them in. So if your army is agents of the Imperium, you get to do a cool thing, which is when you purchase an assassin, you aren't just purchasing an assassin. You're purchasing, like, not a specific one. You are purchasing an assassin. You are allowed to swap out at the start of the game an assassin for a different assassin that costs the same or fewer points.
Yes. In the back of the book, these are all printed at the same cost. We don't know if that cost is right, but it would make sense with this rule existing that they're trying to make all 4 assassins cost the same points.
You would think, I think it's just future proofing that if some of them go up and some of them go down.
Agreed. If they realize one was better.
If one of them turns into 150 points, the other one's 75, you don't get to pay 75 and get the 150 point one.
Reasonable enough.
But you do get to take a Calidus against people who are bad against Calidus. Take a Calexis against people who are Psychers. Take an Eversur against people who have units that can die. Take a Vindicare if you think your opponent might stand characters in line of sight.
Yeah. So many options.
It's neat.
Yeah.
It's neat. It legitimately is neat. And I also think that there are plenty of times when your opponent, you get a lot of value in Agents of the Imperium by taking more than 2 of them, which you can't do in most other Imperium armies.
I think I would take 3 assassins.
Not
and just
the Vindicare, personally.
Well, and you could also switch out to the Vindicare if you see somewhere where that matters.
Exactly. All right, so the Calidus is basically exactly the same with one change. And that change is that in addition to all other rules being the same, at the end of the fight phase, if the Calidus is engaged, you can fallback move of up to D6 at the end of your opponent's fight phase. And you have to be outside 3 inches of your opponent to go into reserves.
Correct. So if your opponent is 1 or 2 inches away, you can no longer go into reserves. But if they're within an inch, you can try to fall back D6 first. And then if you get 3 away, then you can go to reserves.
Exactly.
So functionally unchanged, occasionally it will fall back a funny amount.
Occasionally you roll a 1 and you can't get out of engage range with your opponent.
Yeah,
and you're
but
sad.
if you were tagged, you weren't getting out of engagement
Exactly.
anyways. So
I mean, a D6 fallback at the end of the fight phase is a good rule. It's fragile, won't get to use it often, but when you do, fallback, oops, now I'm out of combat, disappear.
I like
really
that
good.
part. Yeah.
Really good. Calidus with the Vectora is nuts right now, and I don't expect to see that changing anytime soon.
Agreed.
The Eversur, on the other hand,
He's much improved.
got a glow up of a lifetime.
Yeah.
This dude cracks. Okay, so you know how the Eversur used to have, pick one, at the start of your command phase, either sustained hits 3 or precision or advance in charge?
Yep.
You get all of those now. You can now always shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which you advanced. All of his weapons have sustained 3 on the data sheet, and they all have precision on the data sheet.
Very good.
Very good. But now there's a rule that you don't have, so they filled the spot. They filled the spot of the rule with overkill. Best kind. Once per battle, in your movement phase, this model can use this ability before it makes a normal move. If it does, +6 to the move and +3 to its attacks.
+6 move, +3 attacks once per game.
And it got amped to movement 9.
Yeah. I think it actually was movement 9.
Was it 9?
was-
Well, now it's movement 15.
Yes. So he still scouts.
Yeah.
So he scouts 9, right?
Yeah.
Scouts 9, moves 9. That's 18 inches. If you are in the mood, one of those movements is going to be 15.
So 24.
So if you want to go aggro turn 1, that's 24 inches of movement.
And then charge.
Then charge.
And sorry,
And
an
advance
and
and
an
charge.
advance and charge. So 24 plus 3d6 plus an inch.
That is much faster than before.
Mondo fast.
And his output, what's his full output when he's buffed?
When he's buffed, he is 9 attacks with sustained hits 3, hitting on 2s with precision at 5/2/2 anti-infantry 3+.
That will kill a very good number of the characters in the game.
Almost every character on foot is now in the ground.
Yeah. any infantry character that gets charged by that is likely to be dead. I think even an Abaddon tier character without an Armor of Contempt stratagem is probably dead to that.
Yeah, I think Abby has to use AOC or he's dead.
Which, if that's how you get Abaddon, that's great.
I mean, it's like 9 attacks, 15 hits.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like, on average, is like 9 attacks, 13 hits.
Yeah, you get 1.5 sixes, you get 1.5 ones. I don't know. You roll dice, your opponent is sweating the whole time.
Yeah.
I can see the world where this doesn't kill a particular character, but it's not a stretch for it to kill any infantry character in the game.
Yeah, well, the average is for every 6 attacks, you're going to make 8 hits. So just extrapolate off of that.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. So,
Very cool.
Yeah, +3. So the average is 9 attacks, 12 hits.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah, I expect he's going to cost more than he did before.
Mm-hmm.
But we will see what that looks like.
Yeah. That's
Damn.
spooky. Yeah. But I'm glad they gave him the glow.
So the average is into infantry. It is 8 wounds at AP2 damage 2.
Some people die to that.
Yes.
Some don't.
But
Some
a lot
do.
do.
A lot do.
Calexis Assassin is, I believe, exactly the same with one change. And this is a pretty big change.
Yes.
It gains deep strike, and when it does so, it shows up 3 inches away.
Very cool roll.
Very cool rule. Cannot charge if it does so.
That's
Otherwise, it's the same.
So rapid ingressing that 3 inches is
Yeah.
very strong, so you can add that to any Imperium army.
Yes.
It's also a great secondary score.
Yep, you can rapid ingress 3 inches away. That is really good. I already liked the Calidus, or the Calexis. I already liked the Calexis, because the Calexis has good shooting, good combat, great, like, battle shock bomb.
Yep.
That is really, really quite good. And also just really resilient to psychic attacks.
Yeah, I'm genuinely a huge fan of the Calexis. I think that's just a great data sheet.
Rapid ingressing 3 away is just
It's very powerful
brutal.
anytime you can access that.
on a lone op.
Yeah.
Just that
very
objective
hard
is
to deal
yours,
with.
bro. Like, it's just yours.
Very hard to deal with. Yeah, big fan of the Calexis. I think that's awesome. And
You
then
wanna cover the sniper boy?
I'll close this out, I think, because there's not much left here. The last sniper is the Vindicare Assassin. So the Vindicare Assassin is, just like the others, a 4-wound, 4-up invuln T4 character. It still has the same Exodus pistol as before. 3 attacks of 6 -2, 3 of dev wound, ignore, cover, pistol precision. The Exodus rifle is 1 shot of 8 -3, D3+3. Of course, it's Ballistic Shield 2, heavy, ignore, cover, precision, devastating wounds. Has all the rules you could want stapled onto a 1-shot gun except anti. It has a combat knife.
Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Don't worry about that part. Here's what matters. When you make a ranged attack when selecting targets for this attack, you can ignore Lone Operative. That is brand new and much better than before.
Yes.
In addition to being a stealthy infiltrating Lone Operative, it has the Shield Breaker, which is the once-a-game ability that it had before and still does have. And that is, when selecting targets for this model's Exodus rifle, it can fire a Shield Breaker round once per battle. If it does until the end of the phase, add 1 to the wound roll, or whatever that is, and on a successful wound roll, score a critical wound, which, because you have devastating wounds on your Exodus rifle, which is the only thing you can fire Shield Breaker round through, that's pretty good. So once per game, I hit on a 2, strength 8, +1 to wound, dev wounds, and just if I wound you, D3+3 mortals.
With precision.
With precision. That is very likely to kill a attached character in many armies.
Yeah.
Just find a dude, if you can see him, very likely to kill him, especially if you keep a command point reroll around.
Zap, zap. He's good if you go first, because you can infiltrate him to a position where he can see the enemy character.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, if I go first, that character is having a bad day.
Yeah. It still suffers the same problem that it always had, which is 1 syndrome, which is that the Vindicare is a 1 magnet.
Yeah. If you ever want to see if there's 1s on your dice.
Shoot a Vindicare to find out. However, if the Vindicare works, that's a very cool, that character downtown is dead. A lot of normal characters just die to this.
Yep. A lot of normal characters die to this.
Just dead.
Most lone ops die automatically to it.
A lot of them are 4 wounds.
A lot of them are 4 wounds, and just, bzz, you're gone, sorry. So your opponent has a lone op, and they're playing to hold the objective with a lone op. Tough business for you.
Yeah. I don't know if this brought the Vindicare up to the same level as the other assassins, but it significantly raised his bar.
Yes.
And so he's at least something I'm willing to put on the table again, as opposed to Jokes McGee. That's what he was.
Yeah, no, that's what he was.
There are 2 more data sheets. The first is a Sisters Battle Squad. This is the same as in Sisters. It just doesn't have Acts of Faith, still sticky as an objective, and once per battle, you can use the Cherub to use the command reroll for 0 CP.
Sure.
So not even if you've already targeted a different unit. So it's each Cherub is 1 reroll on a Melty.
I guess that is a decent way of representing Miracle Dice. to an
I'll
army
take
that
a
does not
CP
have it.
reroll staple to my Melty. That's fine.
Yep, no, it's good. You reroll a hit roll,
Yep.
or a wound roll,
Or
a
damage,
roll.
something. It's fine. Finally, we have the Sisters of Battle Immolator, which is the exact same as before, including the fact that it can strip cover, which makes it a little weird in the Hereticus detachment. But as an ally, being able to strip cover is generically kind of useful.
Well, it strips cover for things that don't benefit from the ignores cover, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Such as your Imperial Knight Army.
Hold on.
That's what it is.
No, I know that's what it is.
And the requisitioned unit is the requisitioned keyword is on the Sisters of Battle Squad, so you can only take 1 Sister Battle Squad. Yeah.
Interesting, but 1 sister battle in an immolator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, the immolator still splits them in half, so you can take 2 immolators, 1 Battle Sister Squad.
Oh, that is quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Yeah, 2 immolators full of 2 5-strong battle lines. I lied; these are not battle line. But you just take 2 Battle Sisters squads. One of them is a bolt guns, one of them is weapons. The bolt gun squad goes out and dies for the Emperor. The weapon squad uses the CP reroll. I think yes, both can use the CP reroll if you split it.
Yeah, I mean, or you just have 1 cheap unit hold your home objective.
And yeah, gets out and jumps on it and stickies it.
Yeah.
It's really not bad as an ally to certain armies.
Yeah.
It's not crazy, but it's not bad. And then finally, we have, I'm just going to rattle out their dedicated transports. We have the Inquisitorial Chimera. This is exactly like a Chimera in all ways, except that instead of giving a special rule that vaguely involves giving orders at the top, you can advance the Chimera and still disembark from it. Just to be clear, actually, the Immolator holds 6 Ordo Hereticus infantry models.
Okay.
And then the Chimera holds 13 Inquisitor infantry and Inquisitorial agent
So
models.
you can put 12 Inquisitorial agents and an Inquisitor in those things.
Yes.
If you wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the Imperial Rhino.
The
humble Rhino, which is exactly what you'd expect from a Rhino. It is, in fact, a Rhino in all capacities. And it holds 12 Agents of the Imperium models. Not Terminator or Assassin.
I believe, yeah, assassins can't go in them. But kill teams can.
Yes, a Death Watch kill team can go in Rhino still.
That is pretty good.
Yep.
That's how I'd want them to get around the battlefield. Firing 2 frag cans out of the top of them rhinos and then charge
It's
them.
the only ones I was going to do it, and you can advance out and do things. Yeah, that is the end of the Codex. There is a lengthy Crusade section that we'll not be covering in this because we normally just cover competitive content on this channel. But that is the Agents of the Imperium book. As a pure army, I feel like there are 2 of the 4 detachments that are pretty cute if you want to build into it, but none of them feel crazy.
No, none of them feel crazy. I do think the Voidfarers one is at the very, very least quite interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's quite interesting. 3 of the kill teams that infiltrate, and then you get deep strike, and then you get like some good buffs.
Yeah.
And like, all right, okay, maybe. You can get +1 to hit against a target, which helps for those weapon skill 4 Thunderhammers.
Yeah, for sure.
And the real ones. And I could see it. I could see it being like a bargain bin Imperial Guard, half Space Marine without some rules, but with some weird stuff in it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It is an army you can put on the table.
Yeah. I think if you do the Death Watch detachment, you can take a bunch of kill teams with like 3 Watchmasters, some Rhinos, some Corvus Black Stars, take a bunch of Assassins and cheap agent stuff, and you can play Warhammer with that army.
Yes.
I think it is slightly worse than current Death Watch, which is not a great place to find yourself.
No, there are better places to find yourself than
So that's about what it
worse
is.
than Death Watch.
Yes. We'll see if this exists at the same time as current Death Watch. No indication of that.
Or not.
Or not. But the other two detachments seem like they're more narrative inclined.
Yeah. The one
funny.
The one I'm interested in is the Navy one.
Yep.
That one I could legitimately see an okay army coming out of, potentially. I could also see it just being hot garbage.
Yeah, there may just not be enough.
There might just not be
We don't
enough.
have the points. If you just don't have enough stuff, you don't have enough stuff.
Exactly.
As allies, agents seem alive and kicking, same as before. As always, there are several types of agents. There are agents you take for effect, and there are agents you take for price. Voidsmen currently are the cheapest, best agent to take, and so you take them as your cheap unit in an army that didn't have something that cost 50 points. If there is another unit that is in that ballpark, or if Voidsmen are still in that ballpark, that's still what you do. Great. Assassins, you can still take for effect. The datasheets still seem great as allies. Actually, all the datasheets are better as long as the price does not balloon. I see no reason to stop taking assassins.
If the price does balloon,
Then it's sad.
it's unfortunate.
Some of the allied inquisitors, Curia Draxus most notably, are still very valid allies. If you had a reason to take them before, you still do. Draxus did not change enough that you would cut her as long as her points are in the same ballpark. I don't see a reason they wouldn't be, so probably will be.
Navigator.
The
seems pretty good.
Navigator's very good at as well.
Yep, we'll see what his points end up looking like. It's 60 in the back of the book for whatever that means, and honestly, it doesn't mean very much.
Honestly, I'm willing to bet he's going to come out at 60. Usually
fair.
the new units, they just go with the cost in the back.
If he does, I think he's an interesting
Yeah,
decision.
at 60 points, I'm totally willing to add that to a knight army.
Yep.
I'm trying to think if any armies such as Knights or Grey Knights would be willing to add a requisition unit they didn't have before. Would Grey Knights...
Grey Knight's adding in a Grey Knight Terminator unit. That'd be pretty funny.
Funny, they don't have all the right keywords. For example, the Death Watch veterans don't have Adeptus Astartes. So if you put them in a Space Marine detachment, they won't benefit from both. Also, Grey Knight Terminators don't have the Grey Knight keyword. They're Grey Knight Terminator Squad. All one keyword. So what are you talking about? You just take the normal ones.
I know. But it is pretty funny to have them show up and be like, brother? And the guy's like, I don't recognize you at all.
Yeah. It's like, hey, don't talk to me while I'm at work.
But
It's like when you visit your friend at the mall and he's like, hey, I can't talk right now.
sorry, listen, I'd love to talk.
Yeah, the
but-
Inquisitor's here.
And then there's like a customer at the register and they got to go deal with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that.
I legitimately think the Death Watch kill team, pretty solid unit with the character.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's an expensive unit with the character and the Rhino and 10 dudes, but okay, good. Sure, good.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 250 with the character and the Rhino, that's wildly too cheap. It should be
I
expensive.
could very easily imagine a knight army, instead of taking a certain number of armigers, wanting to have 10 battle sisters and 2 immolators.
Can you take 2 immolators? Is it?
Yeah, because they both hold 5 battle
No,
sisters.
yeah. But I'm saying you can take. It's not one.
No, you just have to be able to fill them.
Got it.
Yeah.
That is probably something you will take.
Yeah, and you get something to stick you home objective, which is valuable in knights.
It's very valuable.
You get some ways to strip cover, which is valuable for knights.
It's like how GSC used to take a couple of catechins in chimeras.
I think Imperial Knights need that more than the average army. And so I genuinely could envision the Imperial Knight type armies taking more agents than before. I would not be mad as a Knight player if I took a Battle Sister squad, 2 Immolators, 2 Navigators.
How many points is that? It's
currently
350 or something?
No, it's
450.
450.
Yeah.
But instead of the previous agent package and 2 armigers, you get 2 tanks and a 10 strong battle system.
It's all right. It's not bad.
It's not bad. I don't
Something I
know.
consider.
We'll have to see what the final points are for all of the agent.
I would also consider 1 unit, 1 immolator, and 2 navigators.
Yeah, and just 5 sit on your backfield and stick it at the same time. Navigators screen and generally do battle shocks and nonsense. Maybe you only take 1 in an assassin.
That's not that expensive.
That's not that expensive.
It's like 330.
Yeah, you take
At
your
current points
normal
cost.
knight agent package, which they all have, and you cut an armiger, and now it's a much better knight agent package.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Screens out your home field, stickies objectives, has units to go through walls.
We'll have to run final points when we get them and just see what that looks like, but I could see that being an interesting thing to add for Knight Army.
Yeah, and I'm
That's
excited
enough.
for that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to use these new assassins.
The new assassins are all cool.
Yeah. The Calidus didn't change that much, changed a little.
Yeah, she was good before.
Calexis coming in 3 inches away. The Eversur being an absolute beast is something I'm very interested in.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting things for agents as allies still, probably more than before. And as pure, I think there might be some builds to uncover in 1 or 2 of those detachments. Otherwise, it seems like it's mostly a fun army.
It's also possible that some armies like Knights or whatever want to just have, 5 dudes, right? 5 Terminators to just like stand an objective with high OC on behind a wall and just...
It's really not bad.
It's really not bad.
Yeah.
And they res a guy a turn, so you're not indirecting them out. They're durable.
It's a great skirmish unit to go beat up several units that are cheaper than them.
And require real effort. Now,
Yeah.
they don't have Armor of Contempt,
Just 5 Granite Terminators.
but they're, I think they could be pretty solid. I think a lot of this army can be very useful to allied units.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up here, right?
All right, I think so.
So thank you so much for watching this review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like the video, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and keep an eye out. If you subscribe to the channel, you get notified the next time we go live. And trust me, we're going to make sure we get these Agents of the Imperium on the table, both as friends to other Imperium armies and on their own at least once. And yeah, you can also check out some Agents of the Imperium content in the War Room right now. That's in the link in the description below, thewarroom.vhx.tv. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you all next time.
Bye-bye.